Grandpa, I'm sorry, Hearing what Grandpa said, Han Fei's pupils subconsciously shrank, and then looked at Grandpa with some guilt. Silly boy, this isn't the lawless little monkey I know. Grandpa patted Han Fei's shoulder with his hand, and then said with a smile. Actually, I understand why your little monkey didn't come to see me. You little monkey has done a lot of things secretly in the past 3 years, and everything has surprised your grandfather, of course. It also makes me very pleased. After all, you little monkey has been worrying since you were a child, and you are a famous demon king in the capital, but you don't want to hide such skills in secret. Grandpa, do you know? Han Fei's face subconsciously changed, although he knew that if the 7 Kills group really wanted to investigate what he had done, he would not be able to hide it, but he didn't expect it to be violent and exposed so soon. Don't worry, since Grandpa took the initiative to say such a thing, naturally he won't let you have an accident. Hey, I prepared something for you very early. I was originally going to wait for your 18th birthday, and then officially give it to you, but since you are here today, I will give it to you in advance. Grandpa patted Han Fei on the shoulder again with his hand, and then motioned to a guard on the side to go to the room and get something out of the room. A moment later, the guard walked out with a red box in his hand. Grandpa took the box from the guard's hand, and then handed it to Han Feiadao. The little monkey opened it and took a look. Oh. Han Fei answered, subconsciously took the box, and then opened the box, and as the box opened, his pupils couldn't help but shrink again. I saw a small dragon-shaped token in the box. A token made of dark iron, and this token has the words, 7 Kills, written on it. This token Han Fei had seen in his previous life, and this token was called the 7 Kills token. Grandpa, this is? Han Fei subconsciously asked Grandpa. Keep reading and you'll understand, Grandpa said with a smile. Oh. Han Fei responded, and then took out the 7 Kills token from the box, and after the 7 Kills token was taken out, there was a small black book in the box. Han Fei took out the black notebook, and then opened the black notebook. As soon as he opened it, Han Fei was stunned. I saw that there was a photo of his ID on it, and in addition to the photo, there was also an introduction to his identity. Han Fei, the leader of the 7 Kills group, the rank of Major General. Well, are you satisfied with this gift? Grandpa said to Han Fei with a smile. Han Fei opened his mouth, really confused by the matter in front of him. Haha, your grandfather and I are also using power for personal gain. Grandpa's body is getting worse and worse. According to my situation, it will soon be time to step down. Before stepping down, Grandpa wants to do what he can for you. You have been skinny since you were a child, and you are the most disobedient among our Han juniors. But Grandpa likes you the most from below, so he has always been very spoiled by you. But, to be honest, you little monkey, everything that happened 3 years ago not only made your father dissatisfied, but your grandfather and I were also very dissatisfied. Fortunately, you suddenly changed, and you really responded to the old god's criticism. When you were very young. With the things you do, it's actually inconvenient to make a move in many cases, but with the identity of the leader of the 7 Kills group, it will be different in the future. Grandpa said to Han Fei with a smile. Old god stick? Han Fei who looked at his grandfather suspiciously. An old man who likes to cheat and steal. He once commented to you, you will be the patron saint of my Han family's new generation, Grandpa said. Strange ability. Han Fei's eyes narrowed. Well, that's right, if you have a chance in the future, I'll introduce you to each other, so don't worry about such things now, Grandpa said. Then Grandpa, can I ask you, when did you know about what I did in secret? Han Fei changed his words and asked his grandfather curiously. Since the 0231 incident, Grandpa said with a smile. Grandpa was happy for a long time after I knew about that kind of thing. Good guy. From 1,400 meters away, you can easily break the AWP accuracy limit sniper headshot, and you can also intercept the bullets of the enemy's sniper rifle with the bullet of the sniper rifle at a distance of 1,200 meters. Your ability is very good. In addition, it is precisely because you have this ability that Grandpa can fight for you for the position of squadron leader. Otherwise, if you are just a dark martial artist, it is not easy to get this position. In the 7 Kills group, it is not an incredible thing to be a dark master, and many members of the group are dark masters. Anyone who has served as a squadron leader has reached the level of transformation realm. If it weren't for your ability, Grandpa, I would have fought for you a place in the team at most. I know you don't like to be constrained, but Xiaofei, you have to understand that with great power comes great responsibility, and no one can really be at ease. Especially born in a family like ours, The old Han family was built out with my life. I don't want to see him defeated. Xiaofei. Can you promise Grandpa to help Grandpa protect the old Han family? I will protect the Han family. Han Fei nodded without hesitation. Even if his grandfather didn't ask so, he would do so, and he didn't have the slightest resistance to this. Good boy. Rest assured, the captain of the 7 Kills group has a much higher degree of freedom than ordinary team members, and your superior leaders are the Great Elder and me, so if you don't want to do anything, Grandpa won't force you to do anything. In addition, the captain of the 7 Kills group rarely has the opportunity to go out on a mission again throughout the year, and most of the time ordinary team members, or any team leader, can solve all problems. Grandpa nodded with satisfaction, and then changed the conversation. In addition to this, the squadron leader also has the qualifications to recruit team members, although I got you the identity of a squadron leader, but I didn't arrange any team members for you, so if you want to have team members, you need to recruit them yourself. Of course, all recruited members must also be reviewed according to the recruitment criteria of the 7 Kills group, and only people with clean family backgrounds can join the 7 Kills group. Don't just mess around to know. Finally, you have to be careful. Although I won you for becoming a squadron leader, there are also many little guys who are not convinced, and they may challenge you or something. After all, although Grandpa has used your power for personal gain, you can't cover the sky with just one hand. If that were the case, our country would have been in chaos a long time ago, and all this is operated within the scope of the rules and feasible. Of course, the people who make the shot will basically be the same age as you. The difference is no more than 4 years old, and the older ones still don't have the cheekiness to challenge you. Even if they dare, Grandpa, I won't allow it. I'm not afraid of a challenge. Han Fei's eyes flashed. Although he was caught off guard by his grandfather this time and suddenly became a member of the 7 Kills group, since he became one of the squadron leaders of the 7 Kills group, he would not give up this identity to others. Captain of the 7 Kills group. Directly obey the orders of the Grand Elder and the Second Elder. This is definitely the most powerful wave of people. With such an identity, then if he wants to perform system tasks in the future, he really doesn't need to worry about anything. In addition, in this way, he can also be more capable of protecting his relatives. Good. Grandpa patted Han Fei's shoulder with his hand, feeling very relieved. Ahem. As soon as Grandpa's words were finished, Grandpa suddenly coughed violently, and his complexion was obviously very unsightly as he coughed. Grandpa. Han Fei was shocked and hurriedly patted his grandfather on the back. It's okay, I'm sick. I was injured when I was young, and I didn't think there was anything wrong with it before, but as I got older, my body couldn't withstand it very much. Old, Grandpa, I'm really old. Grandpa said to Han Fei with a smile. Grandpa won't get old. Han Fei said. Silly boy, what a stupid thing to say. Grandpa is not a god. It is normal to always be a god. But don't worry. Grandpa can still last for several years. How can Grandpa see you stinky boy get married or something? It would be better if you could give me another one, or a few great-grandchildren. Grandpa has heard that you stinky boy have a lot of confidence. How about it? Which one do you like? Grandpa said to Han Fei with a smile. Grandpa. Rao as Han Feidian is not afraid of the ground, but suddenly hearing his grandfather say this, he still couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed. Ha. What? You stinky boy is still shy. Xiaofei, you really surprised Grandpa. Grandpa laughed. Grandpa. Han Fei called. He was not shy, but he didn't want to talk to his grandfather about such a thing. Okay. Let's not talk about this. Let's talk about the rest. Besides, walk with Grandpa. We haven't talked about it for a long time. Grandpa changed his words. Han Fei nodded. Han Fei rested in the mysterious courtyard for one night, and only left the mysterious courtyard the next day. His treatment is very good, and if he is a junior in other families, even if there are elders in the mysterious courtyard, it is rare to stay overnight. After leaving the mystery courtyard, Han Fei went back to the villa of the military region, and then asked his sister if she would like to follow him to N City to play. Although Han Yao was a little moved, she still rejected Han Fei on the grounds that she was busy with work. Seeing this, Han Fei didn't ask for anything, and then packed up his things and went to N City. When he went to N City this time, Han Fei made a decision. He was ready to complete the system task as soon as possible. He's going to the Wolf's Tooth Special Operations Brigade. He is going to pass the selection of the Wolf Tooth Special Operations Brigade, and then obtain the longevity pill. After spending a day with his grandfather, he realized how bad his health was and that he was really old. Although practicing martial arts can strengthen the body, but Grandpa came from the war era. His body has been injured many times. When he was young, it was nothing, but as he got older, his life began to fail, and the outbreak of that kind of dark injury made Grandpa extremely uncomfortable. Therefore, he must obtain the longevity pill as soon as possible. Once he obtains the longevity pill, he will be able to prolong his grandfather's life for 20 years, and he can also repair his grandfather's secret injuries. In this way, not only can Grandpa be healthy, but at the same time, Grandpa does not need to continue to leave anything. Grandpa mainly stepped down this time, or because he retired due to illness. Otherwise, there would be no problem with Grandpa's re-election, and even more, maybe he could go further. Whether it is Grandpa's re-election or going further, this is absolutely excellent for the Han family. However, although Han Yao did not follow Han Fei to N City, Han Fei was still not alone when he went to N City this time. The reason why this is so is because after the girl learned that Han Fei was going to N City, she asked Han Fei to bring her with her. Given that the girl had just been kidnapped, and there was a shadow for her to go out alone now, Han Fei didn't postpone such a thing. As for the girl's relatives, they didn't stop anything from doing such a thing. Although they didn't know what Han Fei's identity was, Han Fei saved the girl with 2 words in succession, which also made them trust Han Fei. Following Han Fei along the way, the girl was very happy. I can't tell from the appearance that the girl has the slightest shadow because of the kidnapping. However, this is also because with Han Fei, when she is separated from Han Fei and let her be alone, she will also be afraid. At the airport in N City, Han Fei walked out of the airport with the girl, and as soon as he walked out of the airport, he saw Lin Xiaoxiao and He Chengguang. Brother Fei Fei. As Han Fei walked out of the airport holding hands with the girl, when Han Fei saw Lin Xiaoxiao and He Chengguang, Lin Xiaoxiao also saw Han Fei for the first time, and then quickly caught up with Han Fei and called out to Han Fei. "Well, Xiaoxiao, morning light." Han Fei nodded and said hello, and then said to the girl, "Girl, this is what I told you about Sister Xiaoxiao. I thought Brother Chengguang." Sister Xiaoxiao, Brother Chengguang. Hearing Han Fei's introduction, the girl called sweetly to Lin Xiaoxiao and He Chengguang. "Hello girl." Lin Xiaoxiao responded with a smile, and then drove away from the airport with Han Fei and the others. "Is Chengguang confident in tomorrow's game?" Han Fei said to He Chengguang. "A must." He Chengguang said with a smile. "Yes, play well tomorrow." Han Fei nodded. As Han Fei thought, when He Chengguang and Chachai competed the next day, although Chachai's strength was good, it was still weaker than He Chengguang, who had practiced martial arts with Han Fei now and had broken through the middle stage of Ming Jin. Was easily defeated by He Chengguang. You must know that in the past 3 years, Han Fei has passed on a lot of He Weidong's real combat fighting skills, making He Chengguang's combat effectiveness many times stronger than He Weidong in the story. After He Chengguang defeated Chachai and celebrated with each other, Han Fei found He Weidong. "Why do you want to join the Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade? You want to be a soldier? Xiao Fei, why did you suddenly figure it out?" He Weidong looked at Han Fei with wide eyes. "It's not that I want to join the Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade, but I want to participate in the selection of the Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade," Han Fei said. "Isn't this the same as joining the Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade?" He Weidong doubted. "It's a big difference. I just want to participate in the selection. I want to see how strong the Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade is," Han Fei said. "Are you?" He Weidong frowned and looked at Han Fei, not understanding what Han Fei was going to do. "I don't mean anything else. I just want to participate in the selection of the Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade," Han Fei said. This. He Weidong hesitated a little. He didn't know whether to agree to Han Fei or not, but after thinking about it, there was no problem in letting Han Fei participate in the selection, so he said, "Yes, but if you want to participate in the selection, you must first enter the company. Now that you have left school, there are still about 3 months left, and in addition, there are still 2 months left for the selection of the Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade, so you can use these 2 months to enter the company first, and then participate in the selection." "I don't want to go to the company." Han Fei shook his head. "Then you're going to let me use the privileges directly and let you in," He Weidong said. Han Fei said without hesitation. Since he didn't want to be a soldier, he naturally didn't want to join the company or anything, because he knew very well that when the company trained recruits, it would often be disadvantageous in various ways, and that kind of training with his strength would not benefit him at all. He couldn't go and find something to abuse. It's not in order. He Huaidong frowned, and then changed his words. Xiaofei, I know you don't want to be a soldier, but you can't do it. Otherwise, you will go to the company as an early adaptation to college military training, and when you come out in 3 months, I can arrange for you that you do not have to participate in military training when you are in college. There's nothing out of the norm and I don't want to go through that much trouble. Uncle, the matter is settled, and besides, I'll show you this. Han Fei shook his head, then took out a token and threw it to He Huaidong. He Huaidong subconsciously took the token. Almost as soon as he took the token in his hand, he was stunned when he saw the 2 words on the token. 7 kills order. Xiaofei, where did you get this token? Is it possible? You've joined the 7 kills. He Huaidong looked at Han Fei with wide eyes. He was directly shocked. Han Fei nodded. Okay, Xiaofei, you really don't know what to say. No wonder you don't want to be a soldier or anything. The 7 kills group. This is a place that many people dream of wanting to join, much stronger than our Wolftooth Brigade. I also went to participate in the assessment, and as a result, I was eliminated in the preliminary round alone. He Huaidong smiled bitterly, and with a wry smile, he returned the token to Han Fei. At the same time, He Huaidong followed up and said, Xiaofei, since you have joined the 7 kills group, what is the purpose of you still going to participate in the selection of the Wolftooth Special Operations Brigade? With your strength, the selection is of no use to you at all. Could it be? You're not going to crush the Wolftooth force. I didn't mean that, I just wanted to participate in the auditions, Han Fei said. Xiaofei, I know that Tinlei's calculation of you is indeed wrong, but you can't do this. With your strength, you went to participate in the selection without joining the Special Operations Brigade, and now I really can't think of any other purpose for you besides slapping your face, He Huaidong said. You think too much, uncle. I really don't mean anything else. I just want to participate in the selection. Although I really hate being calculated by Fan Tinlei and Comrade Han Shaoshan, I will not be so stingy. Han Fei said to He Huaidong with a straight face. He didn't say anything to fool He Huaidong. Now Han Fei wants to participate in the selection, and then get the longevity pill. As for slapping the face or something. In any case, the Wolftooth Special Operations Brigade is an elite unit, a frontline unit that protects the homeland and defends the country, and as long as the Wolftooth Special Operations Brigade does not do anything excessive to him, he will not be guilty of crushing the Wolftooth Special Operations Brigade for anything. This. He Huaidong glanced at Han Fei deeply, then nodded and agreed to this. As Han Fei took out the sign of the 7 kills order, He Huaidong already knew very well that he couldn't stop Han Fei. 7 killings. This is a privileged token. It's too easy to use it to enter the unit, and if the person holding the token needs it, it can even directly mobilize the entire Special Operations Brigade to assist in the battle. Then thank you, uncle, and in addition, please keep my uncle a secret that I have a 7 killing order, Han Fei said. Don't worry, I still know the confidentiality regulations, He Huaidong replied. Wolftooth Special Operations Brigade, inside the office of the Lone Wolf Einsatzgruppen. At this time, He Huaidong, as well as Fan Tinlei and Chen Shanman and other people who were mainly in charge of the Lone Wolf Special Commando appeared here. What, Falcon, you said that Han Fei was going to participate in the selection of our Lone Wolf Special Task Force. But he only participated, and would not join our Lone Wolf Special Task Force? Fan Tinlei looked at He Huaidong in front of him with wide eyes. He Huaidong nodded. What is this Han Fei going to do? Although I know that I am not right to calculate him, hasn't he already defeated me? It's all like this, it is difficult for him not to be angry, but is ready to crush our Wolftooth Special Operations Brigade. Fan Tinlei frowned and said loudly. He said he just wanted to do the auditions, He Huaidong said. No, you can't let him do this, Falcon, to be honest, do you believe him? Fan Tinlei said in a deep voice. Well, I don't believe it either. He Huaidong coughed dryly a few times and then smiled bitterly. It seems that we still stabbed the hornet's nest this time. This is ready to smash the field. Interesting. It's been a long time since I've met such an interesting thing. Chen Shanman on the side said with a smile. Although it is interesting, we must not let him smash the field of our Special Operations Brigade like this. If he is allowed to smash it like this, what is the face of our Wolf's Tooth Special Operations Brigade? Even if he didn't want to be a soldier, he couldn't do that, Fan Tinlei said loudly. Yes, I can't let him smash it. Chen Shanman nodded, and changed his words. However, it is not easy for him to smash it. After all, What he wants to participate in is the selection of our Wolf-Tooth Special Operations team. This time we have a home advantage, even if Han Fei's fighting ability is good, and his marksmanship is also good, but I don't think he is really perfect, and he can do everything. In any case, he certainly has not experienced real high-intensity military training, and under such circumstances, how can he alone smash the field of our Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade? So we don't need to be so nervous about anything. On the contrary, you can also use this incident to teach Han Fei a good lesson. Accompanied by Chen Shanmin's words, Fan Tinlei's eyes lit up. Yes, it's because I'm thinking too much, we really can't be nervous. Which of the newcomers that our Lone Wolf Special Commando has always recruited is not the elite of the elite, and which one is not known as the king of soldiers and sharpshooters in the company? Even if this Han Fei's fighting ability is better than mine, he can't be all-encompassing in other aspects. In this case, we can really take advantage of this incident to teach him a good lesson, suppress his sharpness, and even more, let him bet with me again in a radical way, so as to obediently serve as a soldier in my Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade and become a soldier of my Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade. To be honest, this kid is really a good material for being a soldier, and it's a pity not to be a soldier. Not bad. It's okay to do this, since he took the initiative to come to train. Isn't this a self-defeating net? Chen Shanmin said with a smile. I don't agree with what you provoke, Han Fei. Xiao Fei really doesn't want to be a soldier. Tinlei don't continue to stimulate him, so it's counterproductive. Just let him pass the selection calmly. Xiao Fei can knock you out because of one of your calculations, and if you continue to provoke him, no one knows what he can do. He Weidong interrupted Chen Shanmin and Fan Tinlei's words, and Zheng said. When he said this, he smiled bitterly in his heart. He knew very well that what he said was not a hypothetical but a fact, because after learning that Han Fei was going to participate in the selection of the Lone Wolf Special Task Force yesterday, he went to find his father. As a result, I also learned from my father that my father got a call from my brother-in-law and asked him not to continue to let Han Fei be a soldier. In addition, Han Fei's father also knew about Han Fei's joining the 7 Killings group. What's more, his father told him an amazing thing. In order to provoke Han Fei to become a soldier, his brother-in-law also proposed a 10-trick gambling fight with Han Fei, and the result was. Not only was he defeated by Han Fei, but he was even almost killed by Han Fei's angry outburst. Xiao Fei's anger exploded, and he could almost kill his own son. If the heavenly thunder continued to stimulate Han Fei, he really didn't know what Han Fei would do. And it is impossible to prevent Han Fei from participating in special training. Han Fei has a 7-kill order. If he stops it, if he forces Xiao Fei to use his privileges, it will make everyone's relationship stiff. And it was also impossible to tell Tinlei about Han Fei's joining the 7 Kills group. The 7 Killings are not an organization that everyone can know. He can know because he once participated in the selection, because his father was the commander of the Southeast Military District. There are confidentiality rules for the affairs of the 7 Killing group. He can't reveal the identities of the members of the 7 Kills at will, unless the members of the 7 Kills themselves announce it. Falcon, I know that Han Fei is your nephew, and your heart is towards Han Fei, but being a soldier is not about harming Han Fei. But I really think that Han Fei is a good material for being a soldier, and it would be a real waste if he didn't become a soldier. Otherwise, you will leave this selection alone. Just let me and the Snow Leopard be in charge. Fan Tinlei smiled and said to He Weidong. I didn't mean that. He Weidong shook his head and said. Okay, old comrade in arms, even if you don't, in fact, this time we will strengthen the selection of Han Fei. You will definitely have some worries, so, I think it is better for you to avoid suspicion this time, so as not to have unnecessary trouble. Just take a vacation. You haven't spent much time with Chengguang for a long time. Chengguang is about to go to college now. You should accompany your son on vacation. Fan Tinlei patted He Weidong on the shoulder with his hand. That's okay, so be it. I really haven't been with Chengguang for a long time, and before I know it, this kid has been admitted to college, and time flies so fast. He Weidong saw that Fan Tinlei had made up his mind, and without telling Han Fei's true identity, he couldn't change Fan Tinlei's thoughts, so he immediately smiled and nodded. However, when you evaluate Xiao Fei, you still have to take it easy. He Weidong reminded with a smile. Don't worry, you won't let anything happen to Han Fei. Fan Tinlei smiled and waved his hand. He Weidong shook his head and didn't continue to say anything. And as He Weidong stopped saying anything, Fan Tinlei and Chen Shanmin began to discuss with great interest how to increase the intensity of this assessment, how to make Han Fei's kid suffer, and how to suppress Han Fei's spirit. Listening to the words of the two, He Weidong on the side didn't know what to say. For ordinary people's false rumors, Fan Tinlei and Chen Shanmin's arrangement will definitely make many company soldiers suffer a lot. But what is Han Fei's identity now? A member of the 7 Kills group. If the members of the 7 Killings group were so easily frightened by such an assessment, then he would not have been brushed off even the initial selection in the first place. Although it was said that Han Fei was going to participate in the selection of the Lone Wolf Special Operations Brigade, because there were still 2 months left for the selection of the Lone Wolf Special Operations Brigade, Han Fei didn't care much about this aspect of things next, and he either played with the girl every day, or got together with Xiao Chengguang and others, or occasionally went out on a date with An Ran or something. On the whole, the small days are also relatively comfortable. Of course, Han Fei also did not give up the practice of national arts, and he still persevered every day. No matter the wind or sun, he did not stop for a day. And with Han Fei like this, the girl suddenly proposed to learn martial arts with Han Fei. The girl was kidnapped twice in a row, obviously a shadow of the kidnapping, even if Han Fei played with her and made her feel a lot better, but she also lacked a certain degree of insecurity. Seeing that the girl was like this, Han Fei didn't refuse. However, he did not teach the girl Bajiquan, but the girl Wing Chun. Although their old Han family is a family of Bajiquan, it doesn't mean that they don't know other national arts. Every family that has been inherited for a long time will inevitably integrate the strengths of 100 schools of art. In this way, 2 months passed quickly. When 2 months passed, the selection of recruits for the Lone Wolf Einsatzgruppe and team officially began. With the beginning of such selections, Han Fei ended his leisurely life and began to participate. At this time, at a bus station, Han Fei was sitting on a chair in a daze. He came here according to the selection requirements, and he was waiting for someone at this time. 10 minutes later, 3 very special people came to the station. One of them was dressed in a colonel's uniform, and behind him were 2 young men in civilian clothes, one of whom looked a little silly, and the other had a small head, a very strong body, and his eyes were unruly. After the 3 of them came to the station, they followed the soldiers in the colonel's uniform, swept around the station, and then saw Han Fei, and then walked to Han Fei's side with the 2 people behind them. It's early. The person in military uniform greeted Han Fei, and the person in military uniform was Fan Tinlei. Han Fei. Almost at the moment when Fan Tinlei greeted Han Fei, he saw a young man with an unruly head following Fan Tinlei with an unruly look in his eyes. A cold light flashed in his eyes, and he looked at Han Fei with a sinister expression. "It's you, who's that? It's called. What is the king?" Han Fei stood up, glanced at the inch-headed youth, and then spoke indifferently, with a posture that he couldn't remember the specific name of the inch-headed youth. "It's Wang Yunbing," the inch-headed young man said angrily to Han Fei. "Han Fei, do you dare to try it with me?" "I'm not interested, you're too weak," Han Fei shrugged. "You." Wang Yunbing clenched his fists with both hands, and wanted to make a move, but in the end, he still suppressed his desire. Because he's not the same person he was 2 months ago. In just 2 months, he has undergone a radical transformation. He is now the king of the Iron Fist. This time, he was there to participate in the selection of recruits for the Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade. "Well, no matter what conflicts you have to wait until I leave," Fan Tinlei suddenly spoke. After this stopped the conflict between Wang Yunbing and Han Fei, Fan Tinlei took out 3 tickets, and then issued them to Han Fei and the 3 of them. "The 3 of you, go to 3 different places next, 200 kilometers apart, in different directions of this city. I will give you 2 days, and when you arrive at your destination, someone will give you information, and you must return to the provincial capital within the specified time." After Fan Tinlei gave the ticket to Han Fei and the others, he spoke in a deep voice. "Report, we don't have any money." Some of the silly young men spoke suddenly. "If you have money, isn't it too easy to go?" Fan Tinlei said. "Then you can't let us steal and rob it." Wang Yunbing subconsciously spoke. "You try," Fan Tinlei said sharply. "The national law is ruthless, and the military situation is stricter." "Then why are we going?" some silly young men asked anxiously. "Figure it out for yourself." "Isn't this funny?" Fan Tinlei said, and changed his words as he spoke. "Anyway, you have to go if you have a way, and you have to go if you can't do it, so let's go. Stand upright." With Fan Tinlei's command, Wang Yunbing and the somewhat naive young man subconsciously stood upright, and even Han Fei was also upright. Since he has chosen to participate in this selection, he will abide by the rules. However, at the same time as standing upright, Wang Yunbing and the young man who was a little silly both subconsciously wanted to salute, but Han Fei didn't, because he didn't need to salute at all. So Fan Tinlei suddenly interrupted Wang Yunbing and the young man who was a little silly. Don't. Your wallets, soldiers' cards, and ID cards are all with me. From now on, you are not allowed to reveal your military identity. Of course, there is really no way. If you encounter difficulties, you can call the number on the back of the ticket, and I will send the local armed forces department to pick you up. However, this means that if you fail the assessment, you will not be able to enter my Special Operations Brigade, and you will be sent back to the old unit. Fan Tinlei spoke in a deep voice. That's a shame. Wang Yunbing's complexion changed, and he was not good looking. Yes, it's a shame to go back like this. Some naive young people don't look good. If you don't want to be ashamed, then do it for me, Fan Tinlei said. With Fan Tinlei's words, Han Fei glanced at the ticket in his hand, and then walked up according to the designated riding position. Wait. Just as Han Fei was acting, Fan Tinlei suddenly stopped Han Fei. Han Fei stopped and looked at Fan Tinlei indifferently. Han Fei, you are different from them. They are warriors, and you are not, so you have to enjoy different treatment in this assessment. You take this with you. Fan Tinlei opened his mouth to Han Fei, and as he spoke, he threw a watch to Han Fei. Han Fei subconsciously took the watch. You have to carry the watch on your hand from start to finish, and besides, you are not allowed to take it apart without permission, and if you do that, it means obsolescence, Fan Tinlei said. Did you do anything with this watch? Han Fei frowned when he heard this. That's right, this watch can locate your location at any time, Fan Tinlei said unabashedly. Han Fei, your fist and foot kung fu are very good, but I don't think you are also good in other aspects, so since you participated in the selection of my Special Operations Brigade and want to pass the selection of my Special Operations Brigade, then show me all your skills. Let me see. You don't take my Special Operations Brigade seriously. You don't want to be a soldier at all. You just want to smash the field. How capable you are. Fan Tinlei said in a deep voice. Han Fei frowned, but didn't explain anything. Besides, Han Fei, do you dare to make another bet with me? Fan Tinlei changed his words. What do you mean? Han Fei's eyes narrowed. Aren't you here to smash the field? Since you want to smash the field, then you give me the first place in every selection and assessment. If you can't do it, you will give me an honest soldier. Of course, in fact, I think that you don't have a way to win the first place. Just let you pass this initial assessment. You may not be able to do it. After all, you have not experienced any rigorous military training at all. How can you dare to bet? Fan Tinlei said. Not interested, Han Fei said indifferently. Are you not interested, or do you not dare? Han Fei, it's a master. You should fight, since you have the courage to come and smash my Special Operations Brigade field. Then why don't you have the courage to make such a bet? Are you a wreck? Fan Tinlei said loudly. Almost as soon as Fan Tinlei's words fell, a cold light flashed in Han Fei's eyes. Although he knew very well that the Fan Tinlei in front of him was just trying to provoke the generals when he said this, Fan Tinlei's words still made Han Fei angry. Thought that he had beaten Fan Tinlei last time, and Fan Tinlei had already dispelled the idea of letting himself be a soldier. I didn't want to cause anything this time, I just wanted to pass the assessment quietly and then leave. But now, Fan Tinlei was so aggressive that he hit him again. If you take it back now, I can see that you have no selfish intentions and don't care about it. Han Fei spoke in a deep voice. Take it back? Why should I take it back? Could it be that Han Fei, can you still tell me that you didn't come to smash the field when you participated in the selection of my Special Operations Brigade this time? A person who didn't want to be a soldier, a person who had just knocked me out 2 months ago, turned out to be a sudden proposal to participate in the selection of my Wolf's Tooth Special Operations Brigade, and he didn't even go to the company, but directly used his privilege to participate in the assessment. You are very good, Han Fei, your background is really enviable. But let me tell you, even if you have privileges, not all of them will work in my Special Operations Brigade. You don't even dare to bet on this. You're not a wreck, so what are you? You are very seedless. I look down on you, Fan Tinlei said coldly. With Fan Tinlei's words, Wang Yunbing and the young man who was a little silly on the side looked at the scene in front of them with wide eyes, and they didn't understand what was going on. However, although they didn't understand what this was all about, they couldn't help but be a little shocked when they heard Fan Tinley say that Han Fei was screaming that he was here to smash the field, especially when they heard that Han Fei had knocked Fan Tinley unconscious 2 months ago, which made their pupils shrink even more. "Don't go too far," Han Fei said. "Am I too much, or are you too much?" Fan Tinley said. "Okay, I'll bet you, but what is your bet, and what if you lose?" Han Fei said. "If I lose, I really won't beat you again, and I'll apologize to you," Fan Tinley said. "Although your bet makes me very dissatisfied and useless to me, remember your words, remember to apologize to me when the time comes, and in addition, I ask you to apologize to me in front of the entire Wolftooth Brigade. Do you dare?" Han Fei said. "Nothing to dare," Fan Tinley said. "HMPH. Han Fei snorted coldly, and then stopped talking. And as Han Fei was like this, he saw Fan Tinley take a deep look at Han Fei, then turned around and walked towards the entrance of the station, with a good-looking smile on the corner of his mouth as he walked. "It's done. Sure enough, it's still a milky kid. Even if the fighting methods are good, the mood is still not good, and he is excited by himself in a few words. The first in the door assessment, tisk. This kid is doomed. Wow, your name is Han Fei, right? You are so powerful, even the chief has been knocked out by you. Get to know me. My name is Li Erniu. You can call me Erniu." With Fan Tinley leaving, some of the silly young men looked amazed and said to Han Fei. At this time, Comrade Li Erniu was really shocked by Han Fei's toughness. It was the first time he had ever seen anyone dare to do this against the chief. "Erniu, what are you doing? This guy is my enemy, don't lean over so spinelessly," Wang Yunbing on the side said in a deep voice. "Oh," Li Erniu responded, and then didn't continue to pester Han Fei for anything, just looked at Han Fei with curious eyes. And with Li Erniu like this, Han Fei didn't answer anything, and acted directly towards the designated place where the ticket was taken. "That Yan soldier, what the hell is going on with you, Han Fei?" Li Erniu looked at Wang Yunbing curiously. "He smashed my stall and beat me." Wang Yunbing glanced at Han Fei, who was walking in the distance. "However, this time I will definitely call him back." This. Li Erniu's eyes widened, and there was gossip subconsciously in his eyes, but he didn't ask anything at this moment, because it would be at the wrong time. "Let's go. Let's hurry up and decide where to ride. Come on." Wang Yunbing glanced at Han Fei, who was about to disappear from his eyes, and then said to Li Erniu. "Well, come on." Li Erniu said. Then I saw that the two of them also hurriedly moved towards the designated boarding place of the ticket. A few hours later, in a city far away from Nanjing, it was already night. Han Fei was walking out of the exit of the bus station. When he walked out of the door, a man wearing a black hat, a jacket, and a silver suitcase approached Han Fei, and then suddenly put the suitcase on the ground. With this person like this, Han Fei's eyes moved, and then he picked up the suitcase from the ground. This person is the person who joins it. And almost at the moment when Han Fei picked up the suitcase, he saw a person in a jacket suddenly took out a blood bag with his right hand and smashed it on his head. His head was immediately blood red, and at the same time, his left hand was still grabbing towards Han Fei. As soon as Han Fei's body moved, he dodged the other party's hand. Robbery, murder. At the same time that Han Fei dodged this person's hand, he saw this person open his throat and scream hysterically. With this person like this, I immediately saw the people around me looking towards Han Fei one after another. And when the surrounding people looked over, they saw that not far away, there were a few policemen patrolling, and when they saw such a situation, they immediately rushed towards Han Fei. All right. Although Han Fei knew very well that the assessment was very nonsense, he also had to admit that it was indeed nonsense. Almost in the moment when the policeman rushed up, Han Fei's body moved, and he turned into a sharp sword and jumped out. Its speed was extremely amazing, and in 3 or 2 strokes, he threw off the policeman behind him. "System, turn on the radar map scan for me." Han Fei gave an order to the system while shaking off the police. With the map opened, all of a sudden, everything around him was within Han Fei's perception range. Taking advantage of this situation, Han Fei took advantage of the absence of the police to quickly open the box, and then found some money inside, as well as clothes, a gun, documents, and a mobile phone. Seeing this, Han Fei casually threw away the phone, then put the phone, put away the documents, and threw away the box. Then Han Fei set his gaze on the watch that he had already kept in his hand, and a sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth. Although Fan Tinlay said that the watch could not be disassembled, he did not say that the monitoring of the watch could not be shielded and interfered with. However, Han Fei was not ready to immediately block or interfere with the positioning watch, but ran and quickly disappeared from the spot. Almost at the moment when he left, he saw that the mobile phone he threw out exploded suddenly. With the explosion, it immediately alarmed the attention of some people, especially the policemen who were tracking Han Fei, but when they came to the place where the phone exploded, Han Fei had already disappeared. More than an hour passed in the blink of an eye. How about it? Did you catch that kid Han Fei? A temporary command center in the provincial capital. Fan Tinlay was in this place at this moment, and he was asking Chen Shanman beside him. No, the boy is very cunning and very fast, and runs away as soon as he takes the box, and besides, although he has a location and our men cooperate in the pursuit, he has not been able to catch him at all, and every time he can surround him, he will be the first to leave, as if he knows how the people who are following him will appear, Chen Shanman said. It's not bad, this shows that his anti-reconnaissance ability is good, but, no matter what, this kid is doomed. He has a positioning watch in his hand, and our people provide information. Once he comes to our command center, then it will inevitably cause a large number of police to arrive, so even if he is the first to come to the command center, he will also lose, Fan Tinlay said. However, Golden Eagle, it seems that we are playing a little big like this, and it seems quite embarrassing if our headquarters is taken off all of a sudden, Chen Shanman said. Well, so it's best to be able to arrest that kid in the shortest possible time, before he even arrives at the command center. He now has a positioning watch, and its itinerary is equivalent to full transparency, and it would be a joke if he couldn't be stopped in such a situation. I'm sure Wen will be able to catch that kid with our information. After all, Lao Wen is not an ordinary person. In addition, now the entire provincial capital is under martial law, and all traffic arteries are guarded by a large number of armed police. After all, even if it is you and me, if you want to be in such a situation, the chance of success in sneaking in will not be high. Fan Tinlay nodded and continued. And when Fan Tinlay thought that it was impossible for Han Fei to break through the guard and enter the provincial capital, half an hour later, Han Fei was driving a motorcycle, wearing a leather coat and sunglasses, and he parked the car under the building of the temporary command center very handsomely. After parking the car here, Han Fei calmly walked into the command center. Almost as soon as Han Fei stepped into the command center, Fan Tinlay and Chen Shanman in the command center were shocked by Han Fei. Yo, I haven't seen anyone else coming, so I'm probably the first to arrive. Han Fei chewed gum while smiling at Fan Tinlay and Chen Shanman. Why did you come to the provincial capital so quickly? Besides, how did you get in? Could it be that you didn't go to the designated place? Fan Tinlay frowned and looked at Han Fei. You don't know if I went to the designated place or not, and if I didn't, how did I connect? Han Fei shrugged, then took out his gun and documents and placed them on the table in the command center. Where's your watch? Show me. Fan Tinlay frowned. Wow. Han Fei rolled up his sleeves and revealed the watch on his wrist. Take it off, I'll check it, Fan Tinlay said, and as he spoke, he stretched out his hand and grabbed Han Fei's wrist. Wait, if you take off the positioning watch, activate the tracking, attract the police, and thus end the command center, who is it? Han Fei moved and dodged Fan Tinlay's hand and said indifferently. What do you mean by that? Could it be that you have tampered with the watch? Aren't you not allowed to disassemble the watch without permission? Said Fan Tinlay loudly. You said that you are not allowed to disassemble the watch, but you didn't say that I am not allowed to use means to electromagnetic interference or shield the positioning watch, Han Fei said. Fan Tinlay was silent. You're really sure that the watch in your hand hasn't been opened? Why is it that according to the display, about your final location, it's still in F City? Chen Shanman on the side said suddenly. Really? Han Fei's mouth curled with a beautiful curvature, then he took out a mobile phone, and then operated on the mobile phone for a while. Now, take a closer look, Han Fei said. With him doing this, Chen Shanman immediately paid attention to the positioning situation on a computer in the center again, and as a result, he found that the positioning red dot that had just shown Han Fei's location had disappeared from City F. How did you do that? Chen Shanman asked in shock. Secret, Han Fei said. Hearing Han Fei say this, Fan Tinlay and Chen Shanman's faces darkened. The reason why Han Fei was able to make the positioning watch have problems this time was because he let the system take action. Spent money to buy a multifunctional phone from the system. That's what he's using now. On the outside, it looks like an ordinary Nokia phone, but in fact, it is fundamentally different. After he bought a mobile phone, he used the mobile phone to invade the middle end of the command center of the watch positioning through the system positioning, creating an illusion of position, and at the same time of false positioning. The real positioning was also blocked. His multifunctional mobile phone has a shield against electromagnetic interference. When Han Fei arrived at the temporary command center, he waited for nearly 4 hours before someone came to the temporary command center again. It was a young man with glasses, with a harmless smile on his face, looking ordinary, as if he was not aggressive at all. "Hey, I'm the second to arrive." After the bespectacled young man came to the temporary command center, he looked around in some surprise, and then shouted, "Report." Then Fan Tinlay signaled to stand with Han Fei. "Master, yes, be the first to come here, admire and admire, get to know me. My name is Shu Tianlong, you can call me Longlong." After Shu Tianlong came to Han Fei's side, he greeted Han Fei with a smile. "You're polite, you're also very good, my name is Han Fei." Han Fei also replied with a smile. "It's not worth mentioning compared to you, it's really admirable," Shu Tianlong said again. "How dare you?" Han Fei replied. "You're not done." Fan Tinlay on the side yelled loudly at Han Fei and Shu Tianlong. With Fan Tinlay like this, Han Fei pursed his lips, and Shu Tianlong next to him also shrugged his shoulders. "I see that you are in good spirits, and in order to reward you for coming here first and second, I have decided to treat you all for once. Stand upright, take a break, 500 push-ups." Seeing Han Fei and Shu Tianlong's attitude, Fan Tinlay's eyes narrowed, and then he spoke in a deep voice. "Nonsense." Shu Tianlong muttered depressedly, but at the same time he was depressed. He collapsed head on at the same time as Han Fei, and then did push-ups. 1, 2, 3. For Han Fei, 200 push-ups were not even a warm-up for him, but in order to prevent Fan Tinlay from continuing to look for trouble, he didn't do anything, but did it at the same speed as Shu Tianlong, not fast or slow. When the 200 push-ups were done, there was not a drop of sweat on his face, and his expression was normal and indifferent. And when he was like this, Shu Tianlong on the side had a certain amount of sweat on his forehead, but the sweat was not much, it was very subtle, and it was obvious that 500 push-ups were far from his physical limit. "He deserves to be a master." Shu Tianlong and Han Fei stood up together, and then whispered to Han Fei with a smile. Han Fei smiled and didn't answer. Their situation made Fan Tinlay's eyes squint subconsciously, although he was actually very satisfied with the physical fitness of Han Fei and Shu Tianlong. But seeing that his punishment was not able to affect Han Fei in the slightest, his heart also sank subconsciously. This time, the main purpose of increasing the assessment of Han Fei is to hit Han Fei's spirit, let Han Fei understand that not everything he can do, and let Han Fei understand that their Special Operations Brigade is not a place where he can smash the field, so that Han Fei can join the Special Operations Brigade. But now, this kind of punishment, which was equivalent to getting off the horse, had no effect on Han Fei at all, and it immediately had a certain impact on Fan Tinlay's sincerity. As for continuing to physically punish Han Fei, there is no absolute reason, and it is not good to do that now. Everything has to be officially started after the assessment. Thinking of the formal assessment, Fan Tinlay's eyes flashed, and he looked at Han Fei again meaningfully, and then withdrew his gaze. Time flies. One by one, they came to the makeshift command center. Soon it was dawn, and the next day came. When the time reached 10 o'clock in the morning, outside the temporary command center, the sound of ghosts crying and wolf howls suddenly sounded, and the voice was extremely miserable. And this voice did not last long, followed by another sound of ghosts crying wolf. 5 minutes later, 2 men carrying woven bags walked into the makeshift command center. One of these 2 people had messy hair, tattered clothes, and a lot on his face, and he looked very embarrassed, no different from Hanako. The other person, dressed as a migrant worker, wore a tattered shirt on his upper body, gray cloth pants on his lower body, and a straw hat on his head. The 2 of them shouted all the way into the command center. "Report." After the 2 walked in, they saw Fan Tinlay and others from the Delan command center, and immediately spoke loudly. "They are Wang Yunbing and Li Erniu. Stand on one side," Chen Shanman said. "Yes." The 2 of them replied loudly, and then quickly stood towards the group, which was already quite a few people. When they stood towards the team, Wang Yunbing's eyes were immediately attracted by Han Fei, who was in the first row on the right, wearing a leather coat and looking cool. Han Fei. After Wang Yunbing saw Han Fei, his pupils subconsciously shrank. The team in front of him was obviously ranked from the first row on the right, and now Han Fei was standing on the right, and he was the first on the right, that is to say, Han Fei was the first to come to this temporary command center. Except for Han Fei, there were already dozens of people in this room. Wang Yunbing came here after dozens of people. In other words, he is dozens of places worse than Han Fei. This hit Wang Yunbing hard. Report. More than 10 minutes later, after a few more people entered the temporary command center, Han Fei suddenly spoke indifferently. Huh? Han Fei's situation made Fan Tinlei's eyes subconsciously narrow. He didn't understand what Han Fei wanted to do when he suddenly spoke. Does he want to soften? No, because it shouldn't be possible. If just being hungry for a night and a morning could make Han Fei succumb, it would be too easy. It's time for you to move our ground with us, Han Fei said. Why do you say that? Said Fan Tinlei with a frown. Don't you think that your military exercise this time is very unsuccessful? Your arrangement is very unreasonable, full of loopholes, and it is not bullshit. Large-scale militants have invaded the provincial capital, and now many people have been arrested. Although these people will not be given the location of the temporary command center because they should be arrested, it does not mean that the police will not use the method of tracking and deliberately release people into the temporary command center, so that as long as one of them is tracked in, then the meeting will inevitably be completely terminated. Han Fei made no secret of his disdain and opened his mouth with a sneer. Since this Fan Tinlei said that he was here to smash the field, and he also deliberately punished him, then he smashed the field to show them. What do you know? My Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade is the elite of the elite. How can I be easily followed by the police? Fan Tinlei's eyes sank and he spoke loudly. This is the case with your Wolf-Tooth Special Combat Brigade, but what about the other soldiers who came to participate in the selection of the Special Operations Brigade? Are they? You will all be negligent in such a common-sense loophole. I really don't know how your Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade survived until now. Han Fei spoke disdainfully. With Han Fei's words, Fan Tinlei and Chen Shanman and other main responsible persons, their faces changed drastically. They did neglect that. The most basic common-sense mistakes were made. Immediately shift positions. Fan Tinlei's face changed drastically, and he was about to shift his position, but it was too late. Almost at the moment when he gave the order, another person rushed outside, and as this person rushed in, immediately after, the alarm sounded from outside the building of the temporary command center. With the sound of a large number of alarms, there are also shouting voices coming in. Listen, you bandits, you are all surrounded, quickly lay down your arms and come out and surrender. It was surrounded, and it was surrounded all at once. Damn. Fan Tinlei's face darkened suddenly. Why didn't you say it in the first place? Fan Tinlei suddenly fell his gaze on Han Fei. I'm just here for the test, I'm not a commander, how did I know you would be so stupid? Han Fei shrugged his shoulders. The reason why he chose to say it now was because, according to the map radar, he could clearly see that a large number of policemen were quietly rushing over during the time he spoke. That's what he's looking for. Otherwise, with the plot and experience, he would have been able to say such things a long time ago. There is your Han Fei, but this is only the first level, and you will know later whether there are any loopholes in the assessment of our Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade. Fan Tinlei said loudly. Han Fei pursed his lips and was noncommittal. Next, as in the story, the person who came to the temporary command center with the police was scolded by Fan Tinlei and sent back to the army to never be hired, and at the same time, the others were also scolded by the angry Fan Tinlei. When he was scolding, Han Fei was directly stunned. For Fan Tinlei's behavior of scolding the assessors for making mistakes that he obviously made by himself, he looked down on them. But this won't be an idiot for him to touch his head again. After all, he is here to assess now. Even if you want to slap your face, you won't blindly provoke and look for training. In the evening, temporary dormitories. Okay, Master, it's the first time I've seen someone dare to train the commanders of the Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade like that, and the commanders of the Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade can only be dumbfounded, unable to find the slightest reason to justify. Shu Tianlong came to Han Fei's side and said with a smile to Han Fei. A little trick. Han Fei said. This is not a small trick, but if you do this, you will offend all the commanders of the Special Operations Brigade, and then you are afraid that there will be big trouble, and the assessment of various materials must be essential. Shu Tianlong shook his head, then smiled again. It's nothing, The soldiers are coming to block it. Anyway, I didn't think about joining the army. I just came to play soy sauce and smash the field by the way. Han Fei shrugged. Smash the field? Shu Tianlong looked at Han Fei with wide eyes. Yes, smashing the field, although I didn't mean it originally. I just wanted to make a soy sauce, easily get the first place in the assessment, and leave here, but now I'm interested in smashing the field. Han Fei's eyes narrowed. Are you really playing? Shu Tianlong's eyes flashed. Not bad. Han Fei said. Well, a master is a master, and the idea is completely different. However, the field of this Special Operations Brigade is not so easy to smash. Shu Tianlong shook his head and sighed. If you do it, you will know whether it is good or not, and if you see that your strength is also good, you are about to break through Mingjin. How do you think of being a soldier? The corners of Han Fei's mouth flashed with a beautiful arc, and then he patted Shu Tianlong's shoulder with his hand. You also practice Chinese arts? Shu Tianlong was taken aback, and then looked at Han Fei in surprise. Although when he saw Han Fei, he felt that Han Fei was not simple, but at that time, he didn't think about Han Fei's national arts. There are not many people who really understand national art these days. Even if ordinary people know the national arts, they just look at it as a kind of fun, and they don't understand the real power of the national arts at all. Kyoto Korean style 8 poles, have you ever heard of it? Han Fei said with a smile. What? Kyoto Korean style baji? You're talking about the old Han family. You're from the old Han family. Wait, Han Fei, could it be that you are the famous little overlord Han Fei in the imperial capital? The famous prince of the Han family? Shu Tianlong's pupils contracted, and then he approached Han Fei and whispered. Makes you laugh cheaply, Han Fei said with a smile. You're just smiling. Shu Tianlong glared at Han Fei, and then his eyes flashed with complexity. As a descendant of a martial arts family, he certainly knows about the Han family. Old Han family, this is a very special family in the martial arts world. After all, the current old Han family is the second chief. It seems that the rumors in the rivers and lakes are wrong, and they all say that you are a waste wood, but Master Han, although I didn't do anything with you, judging from the push-ups in the temporary command room today, your strength is much stronger than mine, Shu Tianlong said. Han Fei smiled, did not deny it, and did not admit it. The reason why he talked to Shu Tianlong was that he thought Shu Tianlong was good. Just by putting his right hand together, he could see that Shu Tianlong was a good material for martial arts. If you train it well, you will definitely be able to become a good warrior in the future, and even if he could let Han Fei train him personally, he would be sure to build Shu Tianlong into a master above the dark energy, and even reach the level of the Hades Palace in his previous life, 36 Taiyang, and 72 Earth Demons. Since he promised his grandfather to protect the old Han family, it is naturally indispensable to create his own team. In addition, he is now the squadron leader of the 7 Kills group, and he doesn't have a single team member under him. Although in his case, he can go to other places to recruit, but the recruits are often not self-cultivated and have a better understanding. Are you really going to smash the field? What kind of conflict did you have with the chief of staff of the Lone Wolf Brigade? Asked Shu Tianlong curiously. Smashing the field is a must. As for what kind of contradiction has occurred, it's very simple. I don't want to be a soldier, but Fan Tinlei is always calculating me. Let me be a soldier. If it's you, will you be angry? Han Fei said. Isn't that foolish? Even if your old Han family started as a soldier, you can't afford to let your generation continue to be a soldier and be a prince. I don't know how many times more comfortable it is than being a soldier. In addition, let alone what kind of special forces you are here to be. Special forces will have all kinds of dangerous missions. Once you accidentally sacrifice your life for the country, tisk. This matter is going to make a big fuss. Shu Tianlong opened his eyes wide, very speechless. Finally there is someone who understands. Han Fei patted Shu Tianlong's body with his hand again. Well, for the sake of your understanding, I'll get you medicine in a few days, so that you can break through your current bottleneck and officially enter Mingjin. Speaking of which, your physique is a waste. You should have been injured when you were a child before, but you actually fell into a dark injury in your body, so that you can't condense your strength and step into the Mingjin level. Otherwise, with your age and qualifications, you should have stepped into Mingjin. Can you tell I'm injured? Shu Tianlong's eyes flashed, and he looked at Han Fei with some surprise. As Han Fei said, his body did fall into a secret injury at a very young age, although their Shu family is also a martial arts family, but compared to the old Han family, it is much inferior, although his father has thought of a lot of ways to heal him, but he has not been able to cure the secret injury, so that he cannot step into the Ming Jin level. The main purpose of participating in the selection of the Wolf's Tooth Special Operations Brigade this time is actually to use actual combat to see if he can go further. There is a great terror between life and death. Often, when human beings are in extreme danger, they may burst into infinite potential. He just wanted to give it a go. Han Fei smiled, then stretched out his right hand, and when Shu Tianlong didn't have time to react, he grabbed Shu Tianlong's right hand at once, and then secretly stimulated, instilling a strong qi into Shu Tianlong's body. Almost in the moment when his strength was stimulated, Shu Tianlong's face was filled with disbelief, and he was completely shocked by this scene. Dark energy, you're really a big guy. Shu Tianlong gasped, and the look in his eyes that looked at Han Fei suddenly became extremely complicated. In order to break through the bright energy, he ran to the special forces, but it turned out that he suddenly saw the master of dark energy, which is simply incredible. Even the current helmsman of their Shu family does not have the strength of dark energy, and the most powerful strength of their Shu family is now only the peak of bright energy. For the entire Huasha martial arts family, it is not worth mentioning at all. By the way, a word of caution, wear more socks tomorrow. Han Fei withdrew his receipt, smiled at Shu Tianlong, and then sat down on his bed, lying down upside down, and didn't say anything more to Shu Tianlong. As Han Fei did this, Shu Tianlong's eyes moved, and then he also returned to his bed. At the time when they were like this, there was a bed not far away, and Wang Yunbing was staring at Han Fei deadly. The next day, it is still a temporary dormitory. Give you 3 minutes, get dressed and washed, and then go to the airport to board your flight. Han Fei and the others were woken up by the summons of an emergency assembly. Almost in the moment of being woken up, everyone quickly got dressed. Among them, Han Fei finished putting on the clothes as soon as possible, then sorted out the quilt and clothes, and then washed up briefly, and walked out of the temporary dormitory. As he did this, Shu Tianlong also followed closely behind Han Fei. At this time, the situation at Shu Tianlong's feet was very wrong. Although he didn't understand why Han Fei reminded him to wear more socks yesterday, in the spirit of caution, he listened to Han Fei's words and wore so many pairs of socks. After walking out of the dormitory, followed by Han Fei and the others, under the leadership of Chen Shanman, went to the airport and boarded the plane. Then, under the leadership of the helicopter, he came to the Wolf's Tooth Special Operations Brigade. Wow, so many planes. As soon as he came here, Li Erniu, who was very close to Han Fei, couldn't help but exclaim when he saw a large number of helicopters placed at the airport. What's more, I thought the Special Forces were so good, I made it for a long time. The Special Forces helicopter is so bad, it's far worse than our Army Aviation Regiment. A very disdainful voice sounded. The man was white-looking, handsome, tall, and exuded a sense of arrogance, and he wore a military uniform with the rank of lieutenant with 1 bar and 2 stars. Chief, I think this plane is very good, how majestic, Li Erniu said. Look at the meter 171 over there, and then this side is straight, the little antelope, and the thing we sit on is straight AB fresh, and what is fresh? The soil has to be scum. The tall lieutenant pointed to the surrounding helicopters with his hand and said to Li Erniu. Do you know Wu GX? The tall lieutenant looked at Li Erniu. What's ignorant, it's still X, Li Erniu asked stunned. I said, how did you get here? The tall lieutenant glanced at Li Erniu speechlessly. Helicopter gunship, number X. Wang Yunbing, who was beside Li Erniu, suddenly spoke to Li Erniu. Oh, that's what it means. Li Erniu suddenly realized, then looked at the tall lieutenant, and said loudly, I'm sorry, Chief, you are a cultural person, and I can't understand what you say. My name is Li Erniu, and I came to the Iron Fist Regiment. Cook. What are you talking about, Cook? You're not mistaken. The tall lieutenant looked at Li Erniu in great surprise. Make no mistake, I also have a second-level chef certificate, and my cooking is delicious. Li Erniu said honestly and loudly. Speaking of this, he looked at the other people around him. There is a chance to cook a delicious meal for everyone another day. Yes, he cooks very deliciously, and he will cook for everyone when the time comes. Wang Yunbing also burst into laughter and spoke. Good. When the others heard this, they also laughed and answered. With Wang Yunbing's words, the tall lieutenant's eyes narrowed, and then he slapped a soldier who was blocking him aside with his hand, and then walked towards Wang Yunbing, looked at Wang Yunbing and said, What are you doing? Report, Chief. I'm also from the Iron Fist Regiment. Wang Yunbing looked at the tall lieutenant without flinching and said with a smile. Yo, you're also from the Iron Fist Regiment, from the farm. The tall lieutenant said, his eyes clearly revealing a kind of disdain, playful and sadistic. Yes, Chief, I specialize in flying pigs, Wang Yunbing said loudly. Ha 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 ha. Almost instantly, as soon as Wang Yunbing said this, the other people around him burst out laughing, and as these people laughed, the tall lieutenant's face suddenly turned black. He came to the Army Aviation Regiment and was in the Air Force, but now Wang Yunbing said that he raised flying pigs, which was obviously sarcastic about him. You private, do you talk to cadres like this? The tall lieutenant said coldly after his face darkened, staring at Wang Yunbing coldly. All right, let me be quiet. Han Fei suddenly frowned and spoke. He didn't have a good impression of such a farce in front of him. Who are you? The tall lieutenant heard Han Fei's words, and his gaze suddenly fell on Han Fei. Yo, you don't even have a military rank. What kind of soldier are you? After the tall lieutenant fell his gaze on Han Fei's body, he looked Han Fei up and down, and then said disdainfully. At this time, Han Fei was wearing a military uniform, and there was no military rank on the military uniform. The reason why this is so is because he has never been a soldier in the army before, and the military uniform is naturally issued by Fan Tinlay casually. Han Fei glanced at the tall lieutenant, then his body rose into the air, and with a tomahawk-like slash, he blasted towards the tall lieutenant. The tall lieutenant's complexion changed drastically, and he immediately stretched out his hands to block the attack. Bang! Almost as soon as he caught the attack, the tall lieutenant, with his legs weakened, flew straight upside down, fell heavily to the ground, and then failed to get up from the ground for half a day. And with Han Fei's move like this, the eyes of the other people around him who looked at Han Fei suddenly change. The people who can come here are all the elite of the company, either the king of soldiers or sharpshooters, and their fighting ability is definitely very good. In addition, if this tall lieutenant can become a lieutenant, his strength will definitely be added by 1 or 2 points. But this tall lieutenant was also knocked away all of a sudden, and Han Fei's second kill combat power made people dare not underestimate it at all, and they were all wary of Han Fei. Han Fei, who let you make a move, who let you take care of my affairs? When the faces of the surrounding people change, Wang Yunbing suddenly spoke to Han Fei in a cold voice. Han Fei directly ignored Wang Yunbing's words, and instead looked ahead, in front of which there was an open-top military vehicle, on which Fan Tinlay and the others were obviously seated. Chief of Staff, this Han Fei is too hanging. He fights as soon as he comes, and he directly overthrows one as soon as he makes a move. When Han Fei looked at the military vehicle, Shen Shanman, who was standing next to the military vehicle, smiled at Fan Tinlay next to him and spoke. It's really hanging, although the other soldiers are all too sharp, but it's still a lot worse than Han Fei. This kid made a decisive move, and he directly came to kill the chicken and make an example. Fan Tinlay squinted his eyes, then walked to the back of the car from his position, then took out a submachine gun and shot at the sky. With him doing this, everyone except Han Fei and Shu Tianlong was subconsciously startled and dodged one after another, and at the same time, they also looked towards where Fan Tinlay was. When they saw that it was Fan Tinlay who fired a gun into the sky, they breathed a sigh of relief. Assemble! Shen Shanman stepped forward and spoke loudly, and as he did so, Wang Yunbing and the others immediately gathered. Take a break. Stand upright. Look to the right. Look ahead. Shen Shanman commanded. Chief of Staff. After commanding, Shen Shanman looked at Fan Tinlay. I've had enough fun, it's very enjoyable, I deserve to be the elite of each army, my energy is strong, I quarrel as soon as I come, I don't talk about quarrels, I still fight. But since you are so energetic, you don't need to get in the car, just follow the car all the way back, not far, only 10 kilometers, you will definitely be able to run the record of the universe. Fan Tinlay said loudly to Han Fei and the others, and said to the driver who was driving, let's go. Yes. The driver answered, and then started the car. Almost at the moment when he started the car, Shen Shanman and others also got into the car, and then saw the car jump out and drive fast. Phew. And when the car was speeding up, Han Fei, who had been prepared for a long time, also rushed out at once. Since the requirement of the task is to be the first in the assessment, he naturally doesn't know how to ink. Han Fei, that kid is the first to rush up. Chief of Staff, do you want to speed up? Shen Shanman looked at the situation behind him and said to Fan Tinlay. Tell him that he must not follow the car for 100 meters, and once he loses it, he will fail the assessment, Fan Tinley said. Okay. Chen Shanman said with a smile, then stood up from his seat and said to Han Fei, who was quickly following behind him, Han Fei, in view of your special situation, you must keep up with the car for 100 meters, and once you lose it, your assessment score will be 0. Isn't that nonsense? Without waiting for Han Fei to speak, Shu Tianlong, who was following Han Fei, frowned. You must know that nowadays they are running with the car, and the people who drive, it is very easy to fix them. Once the car is driving at full strength, where can they catch up with the speed of people? It's easy to get thrown off more than 100 meters. And with Shu Tianlong's words, the cold light in Han Fei's eyes also flashed. He knew that Fan Tinley and others would add material to him, but he didn't expect that it would be so excessive at the beginning. I just hope these guys don't go too far, otherwise. Han Fei's heart swelled with anger. If anyone dares to sabotage his chance to get the universal longevity pill and give his grandfather a chance to continue his life, he will definitely not mind going on a killing spree. Driver, go faster. Yes. And with a flash of murderous intent in Han Fei's eyes, he saw Fan Tinley, who was sitting in the co-pilot, suddenly spoke to the driver, and as he gave such an order, he saw that the speed of the military vehicles suddenly accelerated. Seeing this, Han Fei frowned, and then also sped up. He knew very well that this Fan Tinley just wanted him to lose. Once he really couldn't keep up with the car, this Fan Tinley would definitely announce that he had failed the assessment. After running for more than 1,000 meters like this, when Han Fei had already left Shu Tianlong and the others behind, Fan Tinley suddenly said to the driver next to him, "Hurry up." Yes. The driver answered again, and the speed of the military vehicle increased again. In the blink of an eye, it exceeded 50 kilometers per hour. Foolish, what is this going to do? This speed. Shu Tianlong, who was far behind Han Fei, saw the speed of the car increase, and his eyes widened. Very good. A cold light flashed in Han Fei's eyes, and then he quickly followed again. With his current physique, 50 kilometers per hour, he couldn't stump him. And as he followed, 5 minutes passed in the blink of an eye. Running at high speed for 5 consecutive minutes, even Han Fei's forehead was overflowing with a lot of sweat, and the car he was chasing had been increasing in speed during these 5 minutes. This kid's physical fitness is really good. He can keep up with this speed, and he can still break out for 5 minutes in a row, which is very good. Hurry me up. Fan Tinley looked at the reflector, first praised it, and then ordered the driver. Well, Chief of Staff, it's more than 70 kilometers per hour. You're sure it's even faster? The driver, who heard Fan Tinley's words, shrank his pupils. To be honest, Han Fei behind him was able to catch up with the car at a speed of 50 kilometers per hour, and it was still 5 minutes, and the driver would already feel incredible. Such a situation, none of the special forces he knew could do it, and now, the Chief of Staff actually asked to speed up again. This is simply an iron determination not to let the other party pass the assessment. Execute the order, Fan Tinley said in a deep voice. Yes, Chief of Staff. The driver shouted and picked up the speed again. With the speed of the car increasing, Han Fei's eyes flashed with a cold light, and he once again burst out of strength to follow. Under the attack of such a feeling, under the high-speed consumption of physical strength, in less than a minute, he followed the car to a road paved with sharp stones. Han Fei, take off your shoes. This time it's not just for you, but all those who participate in the assessment must take off their shoes to pass this way. Chen Shanman suddenly opened his mouth to Han Fei, who was chasing after him at high speed, although he was also surprised by Han Fei's speed at this moment, but he did not relent. Humph! Han Fei snorted coldly, and then directly kicked off his shoes in the process of running at high speed, and after taking off his shoes, he only wore a sock. Phew! Although he was only wearing a sock, Han Fei didn't have the slightest fear when he saw the road in front of him, and went straight to attack him. Under his high-speed rush, violence spawns from the soles of his feet. But he didn't snort. Good guy. Yes, this is also difficult for him. This guy is really born to be a good material for being a soldier. It's really a pity not to be a soldier. After Fan Tinley saw the situation behind him from the reflector, an extremely obvious shock flashed in his eyes, and he gasped for air, and then his eyes flashed, and then he said to the driver, "Driver, no matter how fast. Speed." Boom. This time the driver didn't ask anything more, but faithfully carried out the order, and he could see it at this moment. The Chief of Staff didn't want the guy behind him to pass the assessment at all. There's really no bottom line at all. I still underestimate your shamelessness. Han Fei, who was suffering from tremendous pain, saw this situation. A cold light flashed in his eyes again, and then a tactical dagger suddenly appeared in his hand. It's not good. Han Fei has an extra tactical dagger in his hand. Where did this kid get the dagger? Didn't he give them a dagger this time? Besides, what is this guy going to do? Chen Shanman, who had been paying attention to the situation behind him, suddenly opened his mouth in shock. Are you angry and ready to kill? Hearing Chen Shanman's words, Fan Tinlei was also surprised. And in the next second, Chen Shanman and the others all knew what Han Fei was leaving. I saw that the tactical dagger appeared in Han Fei's hand, and then when the car came to a corner, when it made a sharp turn, Han Fei's right hand swung out like lightning, and as he did so, the dagger in his hand turned into a sharp arrow, and it was as fast as thunder and directly bombarded one of the wheels of the military vehicle. Then, the unthinkable happened. Bang! I saw that the tires of the military vehicles driving at high speed were suddenly punctured by the tactical dagger, and you must know that the tires of military vehicles are all high quality, far stronger than ordinary tires many times. Sneer. Phew. As soon as the tires exploded, the military vehicle driving at high speed in front of it skidded instantly, and then suddenly it rolled over on its side and fell to the ground, making a deep scratch mark on the ground. As the military vehicle rolled over, Han Fei's eyes flashed with disdain, and then he easily ran to the place where the car overturned, and recovered his tactical dagger into the system space. Han Fei. When Han Fei put away the tactical dagger, at this moment, Fan Tinlei also got up from the ground, only to see that the clothes on his body at this time had been cut through a large number of holes, and there was obviously blood oozing. What are you doing here? Are you going to murder? Fan Tinlei asked Han Fei loudly. If he hadn't reacted fast enough just now, with so many sharp stones on the ground, he would have died a tragic death in an instant. And even if he reacted quickly enough to get out of the car as soon as possible, he was still bruised. I didn't say that I wouldn't let you knock over your car. Besides, aren't you all dead? Han Fei sneered noncommittally. You. Fan Tinlei was furious, and instantly wanted to rush up and beat Han Fei. And just as he was about to rush up, Han Fei's eyes narrowed, and he was worried that he didn't have a legitimate opportunity to beat this Fan Tinlei again. If Fan Tinlei rushed up at this time, he would definitely let the other party know why the flowers were so red. The next second, Fan Tinlei's body rushed out suddenly, and as soon as he rushed out, he attacked Han Fei with a powerful slash, and had the experience of being knocked unconscious by Han Fei last time. Although Fan Tinlei was already furious at this time, but he also obviously still had a certain amount of sanity, knowing that once he made a move, he would not give Han Fei a chance. It's a pity. The gap between him and Han Fei was too great. After he split up with one leg, Han Fei easily blocked Fan Tinlei's attack with his hand, and while blocking the attack, he quickly kicked Fan Tinlei up, kicking Fan Tinlei backwards in the middle of his body, and even when Fan Tinlei was retreating, Han Fei rushed up. Crackle, crackle. A series of fist-to-flesh sounds sounded closely, and with these sounds, I saw that Fan Tinlei was under Han Fei's attack, but he couldn't resist in the slightest, and was directly hit by Han Fei in rapid succession. Stop, damn, Han Fei, what are you doing? Stop it. With Han Fei's behavior, Chen Shanman, who had also escaped the mortal danger on the side, shouted at Han Fei violently, and not only him, but also some special forces who were in charge of guarding the surrounding area. But since Han Fei had a chance to make a move, he didn't listen to them at all. So, in the next second, Chen Shanman and some other special forces rushed out one after another, and at the same time made a move on Han Fei. Well done. Seeing Chen Shanman and the others rushing up, Han Fei's eyes narrowed. Beating one person is beating, and beating a few people is also beating. Since these people rushed up, then naturally don't blame him for being polite. So a series of attacks came out of Han Fei's hands. He didn't use the Baji fist, but just an ordinary attack. But even if it was an ordinary attack, with his current strength, it was not something that Fan Tinlei and the others could resist at all. Even if Fan Tinlei and the others will beat Han Fei in groups. Under Han Fei's attack, someone was kicked out in the blink of an eye, or suddenly softened to the ground. In just a moment, the dozen or so people who participated in the siege of Han Fei were all put down by Han Fei. Everyone's face was swollen like a pig's head, and everyone's eyes turned into panda eyes. These people also included Fan Tinlei, who was the first to be attacked by Han Fei. As everyone collapsed to the ground, Han Fei followed closely and walked towards Fan Tinley. Stop, Han Fei, what else do you want? Stop, stop, I'm shooting. Seeing Han Fei's situation, one of them suddenly picked up the submachine gun that had just been thrown on the ground when he beat Han Feichun, and then said to Han Fei, "You're going to shoot me?" Han Fei stopped suddenly, then squinted at the special forces who said they were going to shoot. Billowing terrible aura gushed out of him frantically. Ha ha ha. Han Fei laughed out loud, his laughter full of sarcasm. A group of special forces soldiers besieged him, and in the end they were ready to use guns. It's funny. Phew. In the next second, Han Fei's figure suddenly disappeared from Fan Tinley and the others, and then without waiting for Fan Tinley to be shocked, he followed only to see the special forces with a gun, who was directly slashed out by Han Fei's legs, and when he was chopped out, this person's body was weak, and he fell heavily to the ground, and then there was no sign of life. It looked as if he had been directly hacked to death by Han Fei. Han Fei, what did you do? Damn, kill. Seeing this, Shen Shanman and the others rushed towards Han Fei at the same time. Han Fei sneered disdainfully, and then made a bold move. This time every time he hit a person, there was a person who was so soft that he fell to the ground. In just the blink of an eye, more than a dozen people, including Fan Tinley, were beaten to the ground by Han Fei, but not all of these people who were knocked down looked like they had lost signs of life. Among them, Fan Tinley still opened his eyes at this moment. Han Fei, what the hell are you doing? Fan Tinley stared at Han Fei with a very ugly face. He was really angry at this time. He didn't expect things to turn out like this at all. Please use your pig brains. Do you really think they're dead? Han Fei glanced at Fan Tinley, and then didn't say much, just stood quietly in place. With Han Fei's words, Fan Tinley was startled, and then immediately struggled to check those special forces who were so soft that they were on the ground. As a result, upon examination, he found that these people were simply knocked unconscious. Such a situation suddenly made his heart feel relieved. However, although his heart was relieved, he was followed by Han Fei looking at Han Fei angrily again. This Han Fei is really too bold and a little bold. Not only did he dare to overturn the car, but he also dared to beat them directly during the assessment. It can't just be left that way. If that's the case, their Wolf's Tooth Special Operations Brigade's face this time will really be completely lost. He must let this kid fail the assessment. Han Fei must not be allowed to win this bet. When this kid officially becomes his soldier, he will definitely train this damn kid fiercely. Han Fei was beaten by you this time. Count me as admitting it. If you think about it, you really didn't commit a foul, but the matter won't just end like that. Next, you will definitely not pass the assessment. You will obediently wait for me to become my soldier, and when you become my soldier, I will definitely make you want to die of immortality, and I will definitely train you fiercely, Fan Tinley said to Han Fei in a deep voice. You have a problem with your brain. It's all like this. You still want me to be a soldier. Han Fei's pupils shrank, and he looked at Fan Tinley with a dark face. You're a good seedling. It's a pity not to be a soldier, Fan Tinley said loudly. I'll rub it, my brain. Han Fei couldn't help but burst out, and then his figure flashed, appearing beside Fan Tinley, grabbing Fan Tinley's clothes and lifting him up with one hand. Fan Tinley, are you fucking crazy? I told you, I don't want to be a soldier, let alone a particularly stupid soldier, just like you, be a fool when you are a soldier. Why can't you understand people? Why do you have to get along with me? I'm just here to make soy sauce and leave after the soy sauce. You just can't stop a little bit. Han Fei roared at Fan Tinley, his forehead was bruised, and his killing intent surged in his heart. If it weren't for Fan Tinley's two forces, the starting point would still be good, and he wouldn't help but kill Fan Tinley directly. What's so bad about being a soldier? Why are you so resistant? Whatever you say, since you promised to make a bet with me, then you have to keep your promise to me. If I lose, I will naturally give you an explanation, and I will naturally apologize to you, but if I win, you will be a soldier, and in addition, I also told you that you must be a soldier this time. This is the territory of my Wolf Tooth Special Combat Brigade, and it is the home of my Wolf Tooth Special Combat Brigade. Since you have chosen to participate in the assessment, then obeying the rules is what you have to do, and how I want to make the rules, that is my business. This time, this matter is just an appetizer, and in the future, unless you admit defeat, there will inevitably be a more severe assessment waiting for you, Fan Tinley said loudly, staring at Han Fei fearlessly. You. Han Fei's eyes widened, all. Han Fei threw Fan Tinley to the ground at once, and then forcibly resisted the urge to step on Fan Tinley's face with his foot. Okay. You have to get along with me, right? Then you'd better pray that you don't get a chance from me again. Since I have come to participate in the assessment, I will naturally abide by the assessment regulations, but once I seize the slightest loophole and the slightest opportunity, what awaits you will inevitably be my more ruthless beating. Han Fei said coldly, and then stopped looking at Fan Tinley, afraid that he really couldn't help but step on his face. What kind of people are these birds? And Fan Tinley was thrown to the ground by Han Fei at this time, and he didn't have any anger, because at this moment, he was spinning around quickly, thinking about various assessments that could make Han Fei fail. 7 or 8 minutes later, Wang Yunbing and the others came to the place where Han Fei and the others were. When Wang Yunbing and the others came here, their eyes widened, and they all looked at the situation in front of them in a daze, not understanding what was going on in front of them. Why did the military vehicle fall to the ground? In addition, Fan Tinley and other examiners were all in tattered clothes with a lot of blood stains on their bodies, and at the same time, everyone except Fan Tinley was lying on the ground with a posture of dissipating vitality. It's not going to be murder, is it? Can anyone tell me what's going on? Wang Yunbing and the others turned their minds to each other, their faces full of puzzlement and shock. All of them are stunned for what to do. Take off my shoes and run over. This road is only allowed to take off shoes and run. When Wang Yunbing and the others were in a daze, Fan Tinley suddenly yelled loudly at Wang Yunbing and the others. Take off your shoes. It's going to be a rhythm that abolish the feet. Wang Yunbing and the others were all frightened. They looked at the road paved with sharp stones in front of each other, each subconsciously swallowed their saliva, and then obeyed the order to take off their shoes, gritted their teeth and ran towards where Fan Tinley and Han Fei were. It hurts. All kinds of screams sounded from the mouths of Wang Yunbing and others, and they all felt that their feet were about to be abolished. In the midst of such screams, Wang Yunbing and the others finally came to the place where Fan Tinley was. Chief, who are you? Asked one of the soldiers, looking at Fan Tinley suspiciously. Don't ask if you shouldn't know. Now I'll go and set the car up, Fan Tinley said. Yes. Wang Yunbing and the others responded one after another, and then hurriedly went to set up the car. Only Han Fei did not move. However, he can't be offended. Such a car is nothing at all in front of dozens of soldiers. He was erected in 3 or 2 strokes. After the car stood up, Fan Tinley asked people to take out the spare tire from the car, change the tire, and then woke up some examiners. As for the serious injuries, they could only be lifted to the car. After doing such a thing, Fan Tinley personally drove and led the team to move towards the camp of the Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade again. Of course, Wang Yunbing and the others could only run behind the car, and they ran barefoot. Among them, Han Fei ran at the front, and he followed Shu Tianlong by his side. Shu Tianlong wore several pairs of socks under his feet, although the stones were sharp, so that he could not feel any pain, but they were much better than Wang Yunbing and the others. Master, what happened to you just now? You overturned the car? Besides, the instructor was also knocked out by you, right? Shu Tianlong asked Han Fei curiously as he followed Han Fei's side. Han Fei responded. Cow, master, you are really my idol, you are making a big fuss. Oh, and with your identity, it's nothing. Still, you're pretty good. Shu Tianlong gave Han Fei a thumbs up. Although he was suspicious when he saw the situation in front of him, he was still frightened when he really heard Han Fei say this. It's really unscrupulous, it's this, because of the experience of the car being overturned by Han Fei. This time Fan Tinley drove the car and did not accelerate wildly, although the speed was still a little fast, but it was also within the normal range. Not only Han Fei could easily keep up, but Wang Yunbing and others were also able to keep up with the hard running. Of course, running on gravel roads is very uncomfortable. Running all the way down. In the end, Han Fei and the others came to the camp of the Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade. 10 kilometers of trail running. When they came to the camp, almost everyone except Han Fei had almost lost their physical strength, and many of them had directly exhausted their physical strength. After all, they had done much more than the physical exertion of a 10-kilometer trail run, and at the same time the severe pain of running barefoot on gravel roads. At this moment, except for Han Fei and Shu Tianlong, the feet of everyone else were already blurred with flesh and blood. Although Han Fei didn't wear any socks, his physique was far beyond ordinary people. Although the gravel road will also cause him pain under his crazy running, but when he is running with energy, he also does not want to puncture his feet or anything. However, although they all came to the camp, they were still at the gate of the camp at this moment. Because when they came here, Fan Tinley was the first to enter the camp, and after he entered the camp, he took a torch from the special forces guarding the camp next to him, and then threw it towards the door, and when he threw it, he saw a wall of fire more than one person high, slamming into the sky, stopping Han Fei and the others outside the camp, so that they couldn't see the specific situation inside the camp at all. It would be nice if there were helicopters. The tall lieutenant who had been defeated by Han Fei with one move looked at the wall of fire in front of him with a look of awe and muttered, "This killing awesome is really ruthless." Shu Tianlong excused. "If you want to enter my special forces, first pass this wall of fire. If you can't even pass such a small wall of fire, what other special forces will you enter, or give me back your old troops, and be the king of your soldiers?" Fan Tinley stood on top of the military vehicle and spoke loudly to Han Fei and the others. Phew. Almost at the moment when Fan Tinley's words fell, the corners of Han Fei's mouth twitched, and then he rushed directly towards the wall of fire, rushed through the wall of fire in the blink of an eye, and then entered the camp. When he entered the camp, his body was not affected in the slightest. Long, come here." After Han Fei stepped over the wall of fire, he followed and said to Shu Tianlong, "Right now." Shu Tianlong responded. He admired Han Fei very much now, and believed that Han Fei would not trap him, so at the same time as he responded, his body moved, and he rushed towards the wall of fire, and he also rushed through the wall of fire at once. After rushing past the wall of fire, nothing happened. Niu were also on it. Seeing this, Wang Yunbing was not willing to lag behind and said to Li Niu, "Give it to me." Oh. Li Niu responded, then swallowed his saliva, and handed his hand to Li Niu. Then, with the shouting, Li Niu and Wang Yunbing also rushed through the wall of fire at once. However, when he rushed through the wall of fire, Wang Yunbing's body suddenly caught fire. "It's on fire." Li Niu was startled and hurriedly helped Wang Yunbing extinguish the flames, and at the same time, Shu Tianlong also followed to help and quickly extinguished the flames. With Han Fei and the others taking the lead, they followed the tall lieutenant and glanced at Han Fei, who was the first to rush through the wall of fire, and then took a deep breath, and also rushed through the wall of fire at once. Then, the others also rushed up to the wall of fire one after the other. Soon there were only 7 or 8 people left, but when these 7 or 8 people rushed to the wall of fire at the same time, except for the one on the left, the other people froze at the same time, and then subconsciously stepped back, looking at the wall of fire with great fear. Seeing this situation, the person who was about to rush through the wall of fire suddenly stopped and frowned at the few people who retreated. "Jump! Hurry up and jump over here, jump!" At the same time, Wang Yunbing and the others, who had jumped over first, opened their mouths to these 5 people one after another, encouraging them. "Jump! Jump with me!" said the man on the left to the person who was backing back, and then the person behind him did not move at all, but stepped back behind him again. "2 dogs, 2 donkeys, stupid, waste." Seeing this, the person on the left dropped a sentence, and then rushed through the wall of fire at once. "Come on, come here, there's nothing going on." After the man on the left jumped over the wall of fire, the others spoke again to those who hadn't. But those who didn't jump over were still unmoved. And as they did so, the wall of fire was suddenly extinguished. It's good that the flames are just extinguished. The men who had not rushed past the wall of fire were overjoyed when they saw this, and they were about to rush into the camp, but just as they were about to rush into the camp, they saw a fence appear and block them. At the same time, Fan Tinley said loudly, "If you fail to pass the assessment outside the fence, you will send me back to the old army." With his words, the others immediately turned and left the camp in despair. Attention within the line of fire. As those people left, Fan Tinley spoke loudly again, and as he spoke, he saw that around where Han Fei and the others were standing, flames suddenly burst out, forming a square, surrounding them. The fire was extremely fierce, and it looked very scary. "Longlong, squat down," Han Fei said to Shu Tianlong, and squatted down all of a sudden. With Han Fei like this, Shu Tianlong immediately followed and squatted, and at the same time, Wang Yunbing was not to be left behind again, and squatted down with Li Niu. The same was true of the tall lieutenant. The tall lieutenant had been defeated by Han Fei with a tomahawk-style slash before, but now he had a fire in his heart. He's not going to just leave it at that. I have to get the field back. Ah, what the hell is this? I can't stand it. One of the men roared loudly, his voice full of anger, and with his roar, he saw that he rushed over the wall of fire at once, and went straight to the outside of the camp, and he gave up the test. Squad leader, don't go, don't leave at this time. Seeing this situation, someone suddenly spoke loudly to keep the person who left, but the person did not stop at all. Is this an exam or a roast pig? The fire is too fierce. It's going to be cooked. Nonsense. As the man left, the tall lieutenant and the others spoke speechlessly, but none of them left. In the blink of an eye, 30 seconds passed. 30 seconds are up. Extinguish the fire, Fan Tinley said loudly, and as he did so, he saw that the fierce wall of fire was extinguished in an instant, and with this, everyone except Han Fei breathed a sigh of relief, and they all had palpitations in their hearts. However, the expression on Han Fei's face was not nervous at all, extremely normal and comfortable, as if he had just finished his vacation. When Han Fei was in such a situation, Fan Tinley also found Han Fei's face for the first time. He wanted to see Han Fei's nervous and scared expression, but when he saw such a comfortable expression on Han Fei's face, his brows subconsciously furrowed, and he couldn't help but want Han Fei to continue to try the wall of fire again and let him take the exam alone. But this idea only just arose, and was immediately dispelled by him. This is just the beginning, and there are still a lot of assessments behind, so he doesn't believe that this Han Fei can always be so calm and so good. After the fire was extinguished, Han Fei and the others were taken to a bathhouse by one of the instructors, and everyone stripped off their clothes and pants, and then came to a large pool. As they walked, a large amount of blood appeared on the ground, staining it blood red. The reason for this is naturally because of the crazy running on the gravel road, so that these people's feet are injured, so that blood flows out. During the walk, Wang Yunbing and the others looked very ugly. Of course, Han Fei and Shu Tianlong are not among them. Wine. After coming to the pool, Li Erniu suddenly moved his nose, and then subconsciously spoke, and at this moment he smelled obvious wine. What are you thinking? What kind of wine? If it's wine, it's your turn to drink. I haven't drunk for almost 3 years. The instructor glared at Li Erniu, and then said loudly, let's all go in. Hey, do you know what the hell is in here? Wang Yunbing asked in a low voice to Han Fei beside him. Although he was very dissatisfied with Han Fei, he had to admit that in the successive assessments, Han Fei was really dazzling. Medical alcohol. Han Fei said indifferently. Yo, how did you smell it? How do you know that this is not industrial alcohol, but medical alcohol? Was beside Han Fei and the others, and after hearing Han Fei's words, he looked at Han Fei in surprise. This is the troops, and you are training and not murder, Han Fei said indifferently. It's good, there's finally someone who understands. The instructor nodded and continued, I see that you have a lot of injuries under your feet. You see, there is such a big pool of blood on the ground, and this medical alcohol is used for you to disinfect. All right, let's get inside. With the instructor's words, I saw Han Fei striding towards the alcohol pool, and he was the first to enter the alcohol pool. Phew, it's so comfortable. After Han Fei entered the alcohol pool, he opened his mouth with great enjoyment, and then held the alcohol in his hand and wiped it on his body. Long, come in, it's very comfortable here, it doesn't hurt at all, Han Fei said to Shu Tianlong while wiping his body. Oh, here we are. Shu Tianlong answered, and then quickly walked into the alcohol pool, and then sat down beside Han Fei. Hey, it's really comfortable, it doesn't hurt at all. After Shu Tianlong sat down next to Han Fei, he also played a voice of enjoyment. Huh? With Han Fei and Shu Tianlong like this, Wang Yunbing and the others all looked at Han Fei dumbfounded, and the expressions on each other's faces were full of suspicion. If you have an injury under your foot, and then soak in medical alcohol, this will be comfortable? That's not true. We don't read much, don't lie to us. Even the instructor looked at Han Fei with a surprised look. He carefully looked at Han Fei and Shu Tianlong's faces, in order to determine whether Han Fei and Shu Tianlong were strong or really not in pain. As a result, he obviously found that these two people felt comfortable from the bottom of their hearts. Well, the instructor didn't know what to say anymore. It's really comfortable. Then I'm here, I've been running all day today, and I'm covered in sweat. Seeing this, Li Erniu opened his mouth with a smile, and then strode towards the alcohol pool, stepping on the alcohol pool. Almost as soon as his feet stepped on the alcohol pool, Li Erniu's complexion changed, and then he spoke, Shu. Serve. With these words, he stepped his other foot in, and then gritted his teeth and walked to Han Fei and Shu Tianlong and sat down. Well, I didn't lie to you, it's really comfortable, come on, everyone come in, it really doesn't hurt at all. Han Fei said to Li Erniu with a smile, and as he spoke, he looked at the other people who had not entered the alcohol pool. Well, it's comfortable. Li Erniu forced himself to shout out in pain, and nodded to Han Fei with a stiff face. Brothers, it doesn't hurt at all, come on. With Li Erniu's nod, some people who didn't see the situation suddenly shouted, and then jumped into the alcohol pool. When they jumped in, their faces also changed, but they were all in line with the idea of being pitted themselves, and they also wanted everyone to be pitted together, although they were in pain, but they also endured the pain. Shu. Serve. Yes, it's fucking comfortable, huh, it's ecstasy. Well, because after someone felt the same pain again, the other people who were originally skeptical also jumped into the alcohol pool like dumplings. They're all fucking stupid. If your feet hurt, does it hurt to soak in alcohol? You're trying to lie to me? Kung Fu is a little shallower. The tall lieutenant, who did not jump with the others, stayed on the shore and looked at the poor behavior of the soldiers in the alcohol pool with disdain. It really doesn't hurt, Han Fei said. Yes, I don't feel it at all. Shu Tianlong also said with a smile. Lie to you. And you, don't hold on, look at your distorted expressions, if you want to scream, shout, is it interesting to pit me? The tall lieutenant pouted noncommittally, then looked at the others. As he spoke, ah. The screams rang out from the mouths of some people who couldn't hold it well, and the tall lieutenant's body couldn't help but tremble when he heard it. It's so fucking miserable, he couldn't bear to look at it any longer. Go back, you see it's really miserable, they're really cheating on you, stop playing, go back. The instructor suddenly walked up to the tall lieutenant and whispered to the tall lieutenant as if he couldn't bear the tall lieutenant being injured. Go back. The tall lieutenant was stunned for a moment, and then continued. I have been chasing you for so many years in order to join you, and our whole regiment knows about me. Go back, just kidding, besides, I haven't even found a place from Han Fei yet. You can't even pass this level, what are you still playing? Said the instructor. Who can't get by? The tall lieutenant was very unconvinced. I'm a member of the Flying Tiger Regiment, and I'm a tiger when I land. However, having said that, when the tall lieutenant heard the screams of Wang Yunbing and the others, he couldn't help but tremble a little in his body, and he was afraid. Then the tall lieutenant took a deep breath and suddenly shouted loudly, so miserably that the instructor beside him was startled in an instant. Shut up, you haven't gone down yet, what are you sweating for? The instructor looked at the tall lieutenant speechlessly. No, The tall lieutenant subconsciously explained, but then he stiffened his neck and shouted, I can't warm up. Then he looked at Han Fei. Han Fei, I'm here. As he spoke, he strode towards the alcohol pool. Don't be so ambiguous. Han Fei glanced at the tall lieutenant. Timer for 5 minutes, go. As the tall lieutenant entered the alcohol pool, the instructor stretched out his left hand, then looked at his watch and said loudly. How's that, feel comfortable, Han Fei? After the timer started, Fan Tinley suddenly walked into the bathhouse, and then came to the side of the wine pool, first looked at the screaming crowd, and then said to Han Fei. Well, very comfortable. Han Fei smiled and spoke. You don't hurt. Fan Tinley was stunned. I don't feel it, Han Fei said. What's going on? Fan Tinley subconsciously looked at the instructor on the side. The kid doesn't seem to be hurt, the instructor replied in a low voice. Not injured. Fan Tinley was stunned. Chief, I see that you were also seriously injured just now, why don't you come in and bubble too? Just us rookies take a bath, it's very lonely. Han Fei said to Fan Tinley suddenly. Fan Tinley's brows suddenly furrowed, and he didn't respond to Han Fei's words. Why chief, are you afraid? We, the rookies of the assessment, can go into the alcohol pool to take a bath if we are injured. Don't say that you, a veteran, don't dare to come in and take a bath, if so, it is really disappointing. Han Fei said to Fan Tinley with a smile, and as he spoke, he looked at Shu Tianlong and the others who were participating in the surroundings. Brothers, you said yes, we can all come in and take a bath, but the chiefs themselves don't dare to come in, this is clear nonsense. Set up the assessment by himself, but he didn't dare to come in. Yes, chief. Why don't you come in and bubble too? Shu Tianlong's eyes moved, and he was the first to respond. Chief, let's come in and wash up. Someone else followed. The chief doesn't have to be polite. Come on, chief. Those who can come to participate in the assessment are all soldiers in the original army, and as soldiers kings, they are naturally unruly. Heckling or something, for them, there is no pressure at all. Although they don't understand what the contradiction between Han Fei and Fan Tinlei is. But now they are all suffering from the pain of alcohol-burning wounds, which is also a very happy thing for the chief to come and suffer with them. Chief of Staff. Seeing this situation, the instructor's face changed, and he immediately whispered to Fan Tinlei. Hearing the words of the instructor next to him, Fan Tinlei shook his head, and his face was not good looking at this time. Because he has already ridden a tiger. With his current situation, if he didn't go down to take a bath, he would inevitably be looked down upon by Han Fei and the others, thus discrediting the majesty of their Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade. In this way, it is absolutely impossible to suppress these rookies in front of you. Can't let the rookies obey, so naturally don't talk about making them obedient. At this moment, Fan Tinlei completely understood Han Fei's words. This kid was really the same as he said, don't give him a chance. Once he seizes the opportunity, he will definitely retaliate back. Then Fan Tinlei took off his military uniform, and then, revealing his injured body. Today, when the car overturned, he had a lot of skin peeled off from those sharp stones on his body, and in addition, he was beaten by Han Fei in a series of ways. Not only his face was swollen like a pig's head, his eyes turned into panda eyes, but at the same time, a lot of bruises appeared on his body. When Fan Tinlei took off his military uniform, seeing Fan Tinlei's situation, Shu Tianlong couldn't help but glance at Han Fei again. Dared to hit the chief like this, he really admired it. As he took off his military uniform, Fan Tinlei stepped into the alcohol pool, and almost as soon as he stepped in, his face jerked, and then he bit his lip with his teeth all at once, so that he would not scream. Brothers, give the chief a round of applause. With Fan Tinlei like this, Han Fei suddenly spoke loudly again, and when he spoke, he was the first to clap his hands, and with him taking the lead, Shu Tianlong and the others also coaxed and clapped each other. Chief, you are really good, but, in fact, you are in pain. You don't need to endure anything. You can also scream. Why bother holding on so strongly? Don't worry, we won't laugh at you anything. After all, everyone is not shouting in pain, isn't it? After everyone clapped their hands, Han Fei said to Fan Tinlei again. Han Fei, you're kid enough. Instructor Meow Wolf said to Han Fei in a deep voice. Isn't it good for me to be the chief? Han Fei shrugged his shoulders and said. To be honest, although Han Fei didn't hate people who were soldiers, he really didn't like Fan Tinlei Han Fei very much. Throughout the story, He Huaidong will die, although He Huaidong abides by the rule of not shooting across the border, but at the same time, the most direct reason is because of Fan Tinlei. Fan Tinlei's leg was injured by the bomb, so he hugged his leg and screamed blindly, my leg, thus ignoring the attack of the scorpion, so that He Huaidong helped Fan Tinlei resist the bullet with his body, and finally died in the 0231 area. He doesn't understand, as a special soldier, he doesn't even have this ability to bear and this psychological quality, or is he a special soldier? I have to say that this girl's psychological quality is really not good. And the skin is very thick. The reason why Fan Tinlei is extremely thick-skinned is naturally that after Fan Tinlei killed He Huaidong in the story, he was embarrassed to run to He's house, fooling He Chengguang to be a soldier and fooling the last single seedling of the old He family. It's also the grandfather who changed to Chengguang, and it was him, and he jumped this guy with one shot. In the end, Fan Tinlei still didn't scream, and tried hard to survive for 5 minutes, although within these 5 minutes, he almost screamed several times. But as soon as he thought that once he screamed, he would be ridiculed by the rookies around him, and he would be looked down upon by the rookies, so that he would no longer have the face to train this group of rookies, so he forcibly swallowed the pain into his stomach. Of course, although Fan Tinlei survived for 5 minutes, when he survived for 5 minutes, his body almost collapsed. In the case of a large number of wounds on the body, withstand alcohol bathing. This kind of painful drama is absolutely terrifying. When the time comes, give me the uniforms of your Special Operations Brigade and assemble in the playground. When the time was up, Meow Wolf didn't delay Han Fei and the others for a second. With his words, Han Fei and the others suddenly walked out of the alcohol pool and went to get dressed. Chief of Staff, are you all right? Accompanied Han Fei and the others to get dressed. Meow Wolf didn't care that he hadn't taken off his clothes, so he jumped into the alcohol pool at once, and then helped Fan Tinlei, who had collapsed out of the alcohol pool. It's fine. Han Fei, this stinky boy, can be regarded as another good lesson for me. Wait a minute, he will suffer. Fan Tinley endured the pain and shook his head. Chief of Staff, I think it's better to leave things at that. This kid is too demonic. Instead of continuing to increase his assessment, it's better to let them play soy sauce in our Special Operations Brigade. Meow Wolf said. What nonsense, how can things be left like this? He's a soldier, and when it's decided, I don't believe I can't clean him up. Fan Tinley glared at Meow Wolf. Then the Chief of Staff, you take it easy, if there is anything you still directly order us to do. Look at you. You targeted him twice in a row, and as a result, you yourself suffered. Meow Wolf said. I know. Fan Tinley said. The two of them had already walked out of the alcohol pool before they could talk. 10 minutes later, a training playground. Fan Tinley stood on the top of the lookout and looked down at Han Fei and the others lined up below. Yes, I'm wearing this outfit, I'm very energetic. This military posture is also good, but I don't know how your physical fitness is. Fan Tinley looked appreciative at Han Fei and the others in line. Lie down and show me. All of them, arm distance between the left and right, arm distance between the front and back, look to the right, look forward, fall backward. Meow Wolf heard Fan Tinley's words, and immediately ordered Han Fei and the others. As he did this, Han Fei and the others immediately did as he was ordered, and they all fell to the ground. Belly. Meow Wolf ordered again. Immediately after seeing Han Fei and the others fall to the ground, he raised his legs towards the sky at once, and bent them over where his head was. As Han Fei and the others did this, Fan Tinley's face suddenly flashed with a very good smile, and his gaze mainly looked at Han Fei. Then he didn't believe that this Han Fei could still be awesome. P.S. Let's talk about some situations here. Many brothers are mentioning why Fan Tinley is so pitiful, but the protagonist doesn't kill him all at once. First of all, the main purpose of the protagonist to participate in the assessment is to obtain the universal longevity pill, mainly to prolong the life of his grandfather and repair the dark wounds. Since you have come to participate in the assessment, you must abide by the rules. So even if the protagonist wants to clean up Fan Tinley and them, it must be within the rules, and don't mention it if you kill anything. This is an unscientific. In addition, there are some brothers who say, why don't the protagonists directly buy longevity pills or something? Can they run into the army? Anyway, the price is not high. Although the author Sauce didn't say such a thing in detail, he also said it at the beginning because it should have been that the protagonist's authority was too low. How to say it? According to the author's setting, the authority of the system depends on the protagonist to keep doing tasks and gradually liberate the permission. Today's protagonist is far from being able to easily buy longevity pills or anything. Originally, I was going to introduce it in the content of the later chapters, but since a brother asked so, I'll talk about it here first. In the end, the most important thing, this is a Special Forces fandom. If you don't join the plot at all, do you still feel like it, brothers? I've seen this movie and everything. Special Forces selection. This opening has a section of this opening line, but I think there's nothing new, so I won't say more. I will make 5 main points. Fan Tinley said to Han Fei and the others with a smile. It didn't seem like he would let Han Fei and the others suffer too much. And with him like this, many people's hearts were subconsciously relaxed, and joy appeared on their faces. This is not a simple job. A short period of abdomen is naturally nothing to them, but once they have a long abdomen, this is a cheat. I thought that Fan Tinley was going to trap them if they let them end their stomachs, but they didn't want it to be just 5 o'clock. No matter how they looked at it, they all felt that 5 o'clock shouldn't last long. You're still too young. As Wang Yunbing and the others relaxed, Han Fei sensed the situation of the people around him, and the corners of his mouth couldn't help but shake his head. Han Fei, what are you shaking your head for? Do you think I said 5 o'clock is too little? If that's the case, I can add a little bit to you. Fan Tinley, who had been paying attention to Han Fei, saw Han Fei's situation and smiled at Han Fei. Report, it doesn't mean that, Han Fei said casually. Oh, I thought you thought I said too little. Don't worry, our special forces are very democratic. If you think it's too little, you can bring it up. Fan Tinley smiled. Han Fei didn't pick up Fan Tinley's stubble this time. Although he didn't care what Fan Tinley said, he was not alone at this moment. In addition, he also knew very well that the 5 points that Fan Tinley wanted to say were quite a lot. This guy is going to talk about the internal affairs regulations or something, and the internal affairs regulations are divided into 21 chapters, including 326 articles. Seeing that Han Fei didn't pick up, Fan Tinlei smiled slightly, and didn't pester Han Fei with anything, but opened his mouth to say to Wang Yunbing and the others again, "This is the first point. You are all the backbone of all troops, elites, king of soldiers, military regulations and military discipline. It doesn't need me to say, you all understand. So, this time, let me recite it. The People's Liberation Army of the Celestial Empire, the Internal Affairs Regulations. Of course, I won't say much about it, lest the long talk." Almost as soon as Fan Tinlei said this, the faces of Wang Yunbing and the others, including Shu Tianlong, who was beside Han Fei, changed dramatically in an instant. Inside. House regulations. Nonsense. Shu Tianlong and the others were directly frightened. Fan Tinlei ignored the change of color of Wang Yunbing and the others, as if he didn't see everyone's fear, and spoke again with a smile. On this second point, I want to talk about our Wolf-Tooth Special Combat Brigade and special training regulations. Although the scale of this training camp continues to be different, this special training regulation is the same. Speaking of this, he suddenly looked at Chen Shanman on the side. "Chen Shanman, how many special training regulations do we have?" "There are 13 major items and 57 minor items," Chen Shanman said loudly. "That's right, this one will take you along," Fan Tinlei smiled. And when Fan Tinlei and Chen Shanman asked and answered like this, the faces of the people below became even more ugly. At this time, they still don't understand where they are, they're all trapped. As the others around him did this, Han Fei's eyes moved, and then he also made a discolored expression, as if he was also frightened. With Han Fei like this, Fan Tinlei's eyes suddenly lit up. He said, "This Han Fei can't be anything powerful, everything is awesome, he doesn't believe it, he can't cure this Han Fei, no, just started to say it, this kid is scared." After his eyes lit up, Fan Tinlei put away his smugness and spoke again. "This third point, that is, the issue of food treatment, this is a big deal, then I can't help but talk about it. But don't worry, the People's Liberation Army of the Celestial Empire will not appear to deduct your food expenses." "But what, special forces, he has a special situation, right? You're from different troops, different families, aren't you? Some people are pilots, and some people are also the grandsons of the second elder of the Dragon Spirit Empire, and the food is high, very high." Second elder. Almost at the moment when Fan Tinlei said those words, Wang Yunbing and the other materials were all stunned for a moment, and they all subconsciously looked at the comrades in arms around them, wanting to know who the second elder's grandson was. "Yes, second elder's grandson. Isn't it, Han Fei, you, the prince of the Han family, usually have a good meal?" Fan Tinlei smiled and nodded, then looked at Han Fei. "Although my identity is not within the scope of any secrecy regulations, as long as anyone who has stayed in Kyoto for a period of time knows me, I still want to know, Chief, what do you want to do when you suddenly use my identity to say something?" Han Fei's eyes narrowed. "It's nothing, I just want to introduce you to these comrades in arms of you. After all, you have come to participate in the assessment, even if you are not ready to be a soldier, but you should let them know your identity," Fan Tinlei said with a smile. Speaking of which, he changed his words and said to Wang Yunbing and the others, "You don't know yet, our prince of the Han family didn't enter the army from the company assessment, but came in with privileges. Before this, our Han Fei had never been a soldier at all. To be honest, I hate this situation very much, but this time, I have to admit that Han Fei is qualified to enter my Wolf-Tooth Special Combat Brigade. He was the first to arrive at the provincial capital from other cities, he was the first to arrive at the camp, and he was the first to use the assessment rules to beat the head of the Special Operations Brigade and the head of the Special Operations Brigade. What's more, Han Fei didn't come to join my Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade this time, he just came to fight soy sauce and smash the field of my Special Operations Brigade. A person who just comes to make soy sauce can be so powerful. You say, you soldiers who have been preparing for many years, if you can't even compare to him, will you feel ashamed?" Fan Tinlei said loudly, and when he said this, he glanced at all the other people in the stomach. "You know, because of this incident, I made a bet with Han Fei. I bet that he can't pass the assessment. If he passes the assessment and passes the assessment with the first place in every subject, I will apologize to him in front of the entire Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade, and if he loses, then he must listen to my arrangement to be a soldier. Yes, you heard him right, if he loses, I'll let him serve as a soldier in my Special Operations Brigade. Don't be unconvinced, because he is indeed very powerful. At least, I Fan Tinley can't beat him in terms of fighting ability. You can see my swollen face like a pig's head. Oh, didn't you all secretly guess what was going on before? To tell you the truth, this is what he beaten. In addition, this is not the first time I have been beaten by him. As early as 2 months ago, I was knocked unconscious by him within 10 strokes. If you think my words are unreliable, you can challenge him in private. Although our Special Operations Brigade does not allow fighters to fight with each other without permission, it does not prohibit them from fighting with each other. As long as you can defeat him, then I can also give you privileges. As long as you can win against Han Fei, I will immediately let the person who won Han Fei officially become a soldier of the Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade. But it's not easy to beat him, and before you challenge him, you'd better think about whether you have that ability. Having said so much, in fact, I have only one purpose for this, that is, I want to tell you that I will treat Han Fei more harshly in the future, and under my assessment of Han Fei far more intense than you. If Han Fei has not given up yet, and you give up, then you will be too disappointed. In that case, I don't think you should go back to the old army. You might as well go directly to raise pigs. In addition, Han Fei has already won the first place one after another. If he is still the first place in the other assessments, won't you blush? You will allow you to be inferior to a person who has never been a soldier at all? Fan Tinley shouted to Wang Yunbing and the others. Not allowed. Wang Yunbing was the first to shout. Not allowed. As Wang Yunbing spoke, the others followed suit. And with the people around him, like this, Han Fei's eyes narrowed, and he could understand what Fan Tinley's purpose was in doing this. This guy is actually using him to stimulate Wang Yunbing and the others. Stimulate their fighting spirit. Interesting. It seems that this Fan Tinley does have 2 brushes, and he deserves to be a staff officer. So let's get down to business, and let's move on to the third point. Oh, speaking of which, wait, I'm going to say one more thing. Fan Tinley said to everyone with a smile, and was about to continue with the previous topic, but he was just about to say it, and then he seemed to suddenly think of something, but the words turned around, and suddenly looked at Han Fei again. Han Fei, originally according to the normal situation, as long as you have a belly that everyone can't hold on, this time you will be considered to have passed. However, since you are here to smash the field, then you can give me some different means than others. After I finish at 5 o'clock, you have to take the lead in memorizing the housekeeping regulations, and you have to memorize all the housekeeping regulations for me on a disembowelment. Don't tell me that you came to participate in the special election, but you didn't read the internal affairs regulations of the Celestial Empire People's Liberation Army. If so, then I'm sorry, you will lose directly. In that way, from today onwards, you Han Fei will officially be my soldier under Fan Tinley. When Fan Tinley said this, he had a very happy smile on his face. It was a smile on the winning ticket. It's a win. Although Han Fei broke his calculations one after another, this time he also felt that he had won. He did not think that Han Fei had betrayed the internal affairs regulations of the People's Liberation Army of the Celestial Empire. After all, a person who has never been a soldier will go to such regulations. Although Han Fei is from a military family, he will definitely not read this. This is only seen by people who are really soldiers, and even if he does, he may not be able to memorize it. Because, even some soldiers, after reading these internal regulations, may not be able to memorize them. Most people can also only memorize a few key items at best. And even if you can memorize it, it is difficult to memorize the housekeeping regulations in the case of an end belly. In addition, in this way of reciting, the head is not lying somewhere, but will get up and hang in the air to recite, so that the head will be congested and consume more physical energy. Naturally, it is even more impossible to memorize the internal affairs regulations. Almost at the moment when Fan Tinley said this, Han Fei's complexion changed again, becoming very ugly, and he looked like he was completely told by Fan Tinley that he was in the sore spot, as if it was really as Fan Tinley said, and he was going to be sad next. In fact, Han Fei's face was not good, but he was sneering in his heart at this moment. House regulations? If he didn't know the development of the story, maybe he would really be pitted by Fan Tinley, but fortunately, he knew the plot of the story, so he made preparations in advance before coming. In addition, even if it was really unclear, there was a system. As long as he was willing to spend money, it would be no problem for the system to solve such a thing for him. So it was doomed. Fan Tinley's plan was once again in vain. Fan Tinley was happy too early at all. The reason why he pretended to be a change and his face was ugly. Han Fei just teased Fan Tinley and made him happy. He wanted Fan Tinley to fall into the clouds when he was most happy. This can't be blamed on him for being ruthless, but Fan Tinley himself is too confident. This guy is still in a bad mood all along. His situation is almost the same as the defeat of the arrogant army. Fan Tinley always regarded their Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade too highly. Han Fei couldn't help but think of the situation in the story in which Fan Tinley pitted He Weidong to death. If Fan Tinley hadn't run to see how the scorpion was killed, how could he have been injured in the leg all at once? No one told him that the enemy who fell to the ground was the most dangerous enemy. When Han Fei was in the underground world, he encountered too many enemies who pretended to be dead. It's definitely not surprising that there is a slight negligence and someone turns the tables on the Jedi. So at all times, you have to keep a vigilant heart. It is good for people to have self-confidence, but they must not neglect other things because of self-confidence. Under Fan Tinley's complacency, under what he thought was the absolute winning ticket, Fan Tinley chattered endlessly about the 5 points he said. In the blink of an eye, it took more than an hour. With such a situation, Wang Yunbing and the others were basically about to collapse at this moment. A large amount of sweat overflowed from their foreheads one by one. A long time of abdomen is too much of a physical drain, and in addition, it makes the body too uncomfortable. Many people's bodies began to tremble at this moment. Yes, you are all worthy of being selected by my Fan Tinley, you are all good. Don't worry, you can be liberated immediately, and you can collectively carry the internal affairs regulations for me, and you can be disbanded. Erniu, you give them a head. Seeing the situation of Wang Yunbing and the others, Fan Tinley praised with a smile, and then said to Li Erniu. Report. I can't remember it for a while. Li Erniu opened his mouth sweating profusely, and at this moment, his body trembled obviously because of his long abdomen. What, as a soldier of the People's Liberation Army of the Celestial Empire, you actually forgot the internal affairs regulations? Fan Tinley said to Li Erniu with an excited look, Erniu, you can really do it. Wang Yunbing, will you? Fan Tinley followed and looked at Wang Yunbing again. The first article, in order to regulate the internal affairs system of the People's Liberation Army of the Celestial Empire, is added. To strengthen the building of internal affairs, this decree is formulated in accordance with the relevant laws and the reality of army building. Although Wang Yunbing's physical condition at this moment was not comfortable, he still responded loudly, and then gritted his teeth and worked hard to recite Article 1 of the Internal Affairs Regulations of the People's Liberation Army of the Celestial Empire. It's good, although I stutter a little, but there is still someone who can remember. Han Fei, next, you will continue to carry it. Fan Tinley praised Wang Yunbing, and then looked at Han Fei, who was sweating on his forehead and looked very ugly, and said to Han Fei with a smile, looking very happy. When he said this, the look in his eyes that looked at Han Fei was obviously smug. It's a win. He was very confident at this time, and he definitely won. What if this Han Fei kid is a cow? In the end, he still didn't escape his five-finger mountain, and in the end, he still had to obediently become his soldier under Fan Tinley. It's a pity that Fan Tinley is destined to be disappointed. Along with his words, he only saw Han Fei, who was ugly, but he did not hesitate to follow Wang Yunbing's words and memorized them. Article 2. This order is the basic basis for the internal affairs construction of the People's Liberation Army of the Celestial Empire, and is applicable to the active military personnel and units of the People's Liberation Army of the Celestial Empire, excluding enterprises and institutions, as well as the reservists participating in the training. Article 3. The People's Liberation Army of the Celestial Dynasty is founded and led by the Communist Party of the People's Republic of China and the old Marxism-Leninism. Han Fei memorized one after another. His recitation speed was slow, and there was no mistake in it. Fan Tinley, who had a happy smile on his face, his complexion changed in an instant, and he was looking at Han Fei with wide eyes. How could this be? Wait, what's going on? Stop. Suddenly, Fan Tinley suddenly stopped Han Fei. As he did this, Han Fei stopped his voice for the first time. Han Fei, have you memorized the internal affairs regulations of the People's Liberation Army of the Celestial Empire before? Fan Tinley frowned and looked at Han Fei. Report, Chief, aren't you talking nonsense? Since you know that I was born into a red family, it's not a normal thing to memorize this internal affairs regulation. My grandfather taught me to memorize this since I was a child. Han Fei said to Fan Tinley with a look of what you are fussing about, and when he said this, the ugly expression on his face was gone, and the eyes staring at Fan Tinley were obviously playful. You. Good boy, you have yours, but you really have yours, carry it for me, and besides, be louder, give me a little faster. You have to recite every article, every paragraph to me. Fan Tinlei's face sank, and then he said loudly to Han Fei. Article 4 The internal affairs of the People's Liberation Army of the Celestial Empire is the foundation for the army to carry out all kinds of construction and is an important guarantee for consolidating and enhancing its combat effectiveness. And its basic tasks are to enable every soldier to clearly and conscientiously perform his duties, to maintain good internal and external relations with the army, to establish a regular order in combat readiness training, work and life, to cultivate a fine work style and strict discipline, and to ensure the successful fulfillment of the tasks of the army. Article 5. Hearing Fan Tinlei's words, Han Fei, faithfully, carried out the order, and his recitation speed increased significantly, and at the same time, his voice became louder. If it was an ordinary soldier like this, Fan Tinlei would definitely be very happy. But this moment, when Han Fei was like this, every word of Han Fei fell, giving Fan Tinlei a feeling of slapping his face. Damn. At this time, he still didn't understand that he was being tricked by Han. This guy's ugly face just now was a lie to him at all. Good. Very good. Fan Tinlei almost crushed his teeth. Why are you all stunned? Why don't you hurry up and recite along with Han Fei? Fan Tinlei was angry. Seeing that Wang Yunbing and the others were just looking at him in a daze, he suddenly roared loudly. With Fan Tinlei's roar, Wang Yunbing and the others changed their faces and hurriedly recited. However, in the current situation of such a long period of disembowelment, it is really too difficult to recite the internal affairs regulations of the People's Liberation Army of the Celestial Empire. Although they want to recite it, they can't recite it at all, and they can only follow Han Fei's back. Han Fei recited one, and they immediately followed suit. But, even so, it is very difficult for them to follow along. In less than 5 minutes, some people just couldn't stand it. After more than an hour of abdomen, they were on the verge of losing their strength, and now they had to spend their brainpower reciting the internal affairs regulations of the People's Liberation Army of the Celestial Empire. Even if they followed Han Fei's recitation, it would also take brainpower. So, someone's leg fell to the ground with a bang, and then he couldn't stand upright for a long time. With one of them, soon a succession of people couldn't bear it and put their legs down, and their physical strength was completely exhausted. However, when their physical strength is exhausted, Fan Tinlei will not let them be so easy, but will soon let them continue to have their stomachs. Under such circumstances, except for Han Fei, who was still reciting aloud the internal affairs regulations of the People's Liberation Army of the Celestial Empire, everyone else had stopped reciting, because just maintaining their abdomen was enough for them. With the continuous passage of time, most of the day passed in the blink of an eye. In the end, everyone except Han Fei and Shu Tianlong completely fainted because their physical strength was completely exhausted. When they got up early in the morning, Wang Yunbing and the others were pulled to practice 10 kilometers of cross-country and even passed through the place covered with gravel, followed by fire, soaking in the alcohol pool, and then for a long time. I didn't even get a bite out of this meal. Under this combination of assessments, not only is the body tired, but the mind is also tired. Naturally, everyone except Han Fei was naturally exhausted at this time. Shu Tianlong didn't faint, it's just that he has a good martial arts foundation, and he didn't bear the pain of the burning wound with alcohol, but although he didn't faint, he couldn't keep his abdomen. Article 306. Article 307. Han Fei's loud voice sounded one after another, and in the end, he memorized the last one, perfectly completing another difficult task for Fan Tinlei. When Han Fei finished, at this time, the other people around looked at Han Fei with very complicated eyes. Although Han Fei slapped their Special Operations Brigade in the face one after another, they had to admit at this moment that this Han Fei did have something extraordinary, and they thought that no one of them as veterans could carry such an assessment. Not only them, but even Fan Tinlei would never be able to recite the internal affairs regulations of the People's Liberation Army of the Celestial Empire under the condition of a long abdomen. Report Chief, Memorization. After Han Fei finished reciting, he looked at Fan Tinlei with a full of anger. You were very nice. Fan Tinlei gritted his teeth and said to Han Fei, his mood at this moment was also very complicated. Not only did other special forces admire Han Fei, but so did Fan Tinlei. Because the army has always been a place to admire the strong. But, if you want him to just dispel Han Fei from becoming a soldier, it is simply impossible. Not only did he not dispel it, but his desire for Han Fei to become a soldier became stronger and stronger. In addition, the Special Operations Brigade is definitely not a place where Han Fei can easily smash the field. Chen Shanman. Fan Tinlei said in a deep voice to Chen Shanman. 2. Chen Shanman replied loudly. I'll leave it to you, give me a good training for them, Fan Tinlei said. Yes. Chen Shanman replied. With the answer, I saw him suddenly take a submachine gun from the hand of a special soldier, and then shoot into the sky. With the sound of gunshots, Wang Yunbing and the others who fainted on the ground woke up instantly. It's cold on the ground, and it's easy to get sick, so I get up and move, Chen Shanman said loudly. Nonsense. Shu Tianlong was speechless, and while he was speechless, he also stood up quickly with Han Fei. With them taking the lead, Wang Yunbing also stood up for the first time, although when he stood up, his body was very uncomfortable, and his abdomen was very painful for a long time, but he still stood up. However, although Wang Yunbing stood up after him, the others were not like this. Not everyone has the best physical strength. Didn't you hear what I said? Why don't you stand up for me? Chen Shanman said with a frown when he saw this. Ah, it hurts. Chief, I can't get up. Hearing Chen Shanman's words, the people on the ground struggled to stand up, but they just couldn't stand up. Okay, you can't get up, can you? A smile appeared on the corner of Chen Shanman's mouth, and then he shot at the rookies lying on the ground. Of course, he just shot at the feet of these people, but even so, it still scared them, and they stood up from the ground one by one. Didn't you say you couldn't stand up? Chen Shanman said. This person, when his life is threatened, he can burst out with incomparably huge potential, just like you are now. Okay, since you've all stood up, now get me a backpack, a gun, and a military posture for 2 hours. Chen Shanman spoke again. Yes. Wang Yunbing and the others spoke weakly, and at this moment they all had extremely huge resentments in their hearts. At this time, their physical strength has been exhausted, and they have been carrying a heavy military posture for 2 hours, which is simply fatal. I haven't eaten, and my voice is so small, Chen Shanman frowned. Report Chief, we really haven't eaten today, Han Fei said. Okay, that's my fault, but don't worry, you'll have a time to eat. Now, go ahead and get me the gun, get the rucksack, and I'll give you 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8. Chen Shanman counted quickly, so that Wang Yunbing and the others had to speed up the speed of picking up their backpacks and guns, and each quickly carried the equipment on their bodies, and then combined them again. Look to the right. Look ahead. 2 hours in military stance, start. Chen Shanman ordered one after another, although Wang Yunbing and the others were no longer good, but they had to force their bodies to fall down to carry out the order. This Han Fei's physical fitness is too strong. Not only can he support such a high-intensity abdomen, but he can still stand so standard in this military posture. What is his body made of? After Han Fei and the others began to stand in a military posture, Meow Wolf walked to Chen Shanman's side and quietly asked Chen Shanman. Who knows, but it's really powerful, and if he wasn't great, how could I and the Chief of Staff be beaten by him? Chen Shanman said. As soon as he said this, he suddenly felt that his face was a little painful. This kid was really ruthless, and his face was swollen directly, and he didn't know when the swelling would go down. Bang! As soon as the two of them were talking, they saw one of the people standing in a military posture, and suddenly the ground softened to the ground. You can't do it. Seeing this situation, Chen Shanman frowned, and then walked towards the soldier. I can't. The soldier spoke weakly. Have you forgotten what you just said? Didn't you say that you weren't allowed to let Han Fei win the first place? That's how you don't allow it. Look at it. Han Fei can still have a standard military posture, and it is still a standard military posture after the perfect abdomen. Stand up for me, Chen Shanman said loudly. Are you still a gentleman? Are you still worthy of being a soldier? Talk like a fart. I'll say one more word. Stand up for me, or I'll go back to raising pigs.